What is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining us right here on Tuesday night. It is Tuesday Night Titans, episode 152 for your Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. I'm your host, JD from New York, as always, joined by the one and the only. If I have to be an unk, he's going to be an unk right alongside me. The Silent Monster. What's going on, man?
I am not an unk. I look a lot younger than you, actually.
Well, you are younger than me.
Number one. You are an unk. I am not an unk.
You know, someone after Jey Uso was called an unk by Javon Evans on Raw last week, or SmackDown, whichever show it took place on, that they started calling me an unk on my stream.
Really?
I didn't know what the criteria for an unk was, so I asked. Apparently, it's around 40, and I constitute as an unk because I have the salt and pepper beard.
I was going to say you've got some of the the mature coloring on the beard there.
Yeah.
So
no unk status. So you don't want to be an unk. You're just an OG, huh?
I am an OG. I'm not I'm the second most famous OG in New York.
Who's number one? Danhausen?
OG Anunoby of the New York Knicks.
Ah, okay.
Terrible. Right. What a terrible New Yorker you are. You don't even know that.
Well, I mean, you're talking to a guy that doesn't like any of the sports teams here that our city provides outside of feeling good about the Knicks. But
come on, man, the legendary tip, into the basket.
You know, we're on the tip. Speaking of tips, we're on the verge of King YEET. How you feel about that, man? You feeling good about that one, or are you scared like I am?
I don't think any words are needed.
No, we're gonna get into the toilet bowl of creative that is WWE. If that does indeed happen on Saturday afternoon, we're gonna talk some Night of Champions tonight. We're gonna talk some Forbidden Door and all that's going into that show, whether you care or not. We'll talk about what the finals of the Owen are on that show. Disappointed in one, but not the other. We'll talk about that, the main event there with MJF and Mark Briscoe and what's on the line there. And the week from TNA where they had a workforce reduction is what they called it. The colorful phrasing that they used for their terminations and letting people like Tommy Dreamer and Sami Callihan go, of all people. We'll talk about that this week as well, including the rumors of TNA maybe prepping themselves for a sale. $50 million for TNA, Jason. You want to go in on TNA together?
Yeah,
TNA?
there's a lot of sure. Throw a bag of chips in there.
How much is our respective channels worth? Anybody know?
Well, it's not $50 million. Our channels are not worth $50 million, and neither is TNA.
Couple of zeros in there that they conveniently added. How many?
Couple.
We'll talk about it. TNA is not worth $50 million. But thank you guys for joining us here on Tuesday Night Titans. I know the weeks are slow. You guys usually show up big on Tuesdays, and we appreciate it. We wish it was a little bit more exciting. But you know what was exciting, Jason? We were in Chicago on Friday. I got there a day early because I like Wicker Park. I like the coffee. I like the vibe. There's a beautiful record store there that I frequent when I go. But we had HOG Inferno on Friday, and I said it while we were live on Triller TV Plus. That was the best show that we had in Chicago, in my opinion. I thought that was one hell of a show, and it was headlined by two great matches with Red, Ricky Sosa, and then Nick Nemeth challenging Charles Mason for the world title.
Yeah, I mean, we've been to Chicago now, God, it's more than half a dozen times. And I feel like it's always fun in Chicago, but just from top to bottom, I think we kind of turned to each other and agreed like that was the most fun show top to bottom that we have had in Chicago yet.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing on the show that, to me anyway, didn't really hit.
Yeah.
Right. Some matches you could pick out which one you thought were better or which one was your favorite. But up and down the card, I mean, there was a little something for everybody. Again, it was packed in there. It always is at Logan Square. I feel like, we may have outgrown Logan Square Auditorium, but we'll see in the future. Obviously we'll be back in Chicago at some point soon. But yeah, I mean, again, if you missed it, some of the matches are already up on the YouTube channel, the House of Glory YouTube channel. two of the bigger matches, actually. But if you want to check out Red and Ricky Sosa, first time ever match, really like a clash of two generations. I know that match is up on the channel right now, so definitely go ahead and give that channel a sub.
Yeah, shout out to Raheem Royal, the captain of the Skies for House of Glory. He defied gravity and jumped off the balcony right in front of us. And it was an amazing feat because this was a lot higher than it was in Las Vegas when he did the same exact thing at the Palms Casino. And in both situations, Jason, he landed on his feet. Now, he is, we knew coming in, he was one of the more athletically gifted talents that HOG has produced in a few years. But to see him do that again with such ease right in front of us, I mean, we're physically on camera with a shocked face. Our jaws were on the ground that he landed on his feet. What did you think of that?
I thought it was insane. I mean, I thought that you have to have a screw loose up here, to do something like that and to do it with your back turned.
Yes.
When you do a dive, like it's one thing to climb up there and do a dive and you like look straight down, you know where you're going. To turn your back, and I mean, you're putting an insane amount of trust in your own ability, to just stick the landing, and he did. But when you have certain talents and abilities, you have to have confidence. And one thing that he does not lack is confidence. And you could tell when somebody does something like that, you have to be confident that you're going to be able to pull it off. And he did. And we're sitting there doing commentary. And literally, I turned to my right because I was wondering, like, where did he disappear to? It was a six-way match. And I said, I see five guys. I don't know where Raheem went. And I turned to my right, and he's crouching down next to me. And it took me maybe 3 or 4 seconds to process what was about to happen. I said, there's no way. There's just no way. But he pulled it off.
He pulled it off, and he's going to be a name that you're going to be hearing a lot of, so keep an eye on him. If you guys want to go see that clip, I'm sure the HOG Instagram page has it, so go check that out. We're also leaving Triller TV, as it was announced. There were several posts on social media. We don't know. Well, I guess me and Jason know, but we know.
We know what the plan is for High Intensity is our next big event. And that's coming up on Friday, August 7th. It's our biggest event of the summer. It holds a special place to me because that was the first House of Glory event that I ever worked. Back in 2018 was High Intensity.
Cash Flow Austin Aries, I remember, bro.
That was the first match I ever did commentary for.
There you go.
Of all matches, it was an Impact Wrestling World Championship Open Challenge.
There you go.
So we know what the plan is for that show, and likely going forward, we'll let them make the announcement, but it will not be on Triller. We've had a good run on there, but I will say this. I do think that certainly this next show, there will be a greater level of accessibility for the people who are watching this right now who want to check out an HOG show. You will have greater access to it, more so, I think, this time than you ever have before.
There you go. That's exciting.
Yeah.
We'll keep you guys updated on that. August 7th, we already announced Eddie Kingston. He'll be at the show. Ricky Sosa is making his return to HOG again for a second time. That's going to be great.
And the Hardys will be there.
The Hardys. I mean, we can't have a party without the Hardys. So
no.
Make sure you guys keep an eye and an ear out for that. If you guys want to follow Jason on social media, everything you need for him is linked down below. Kindly hit that thumbs up. Make sure you guys do that. Helps us out tremendously. If you want to support what we do here on Tuesday nights and every night, honestly, super chats are the best way to go. So make sure you guys get them on in. If you guys want to go buy a t-shirts, I'll throw it up right here for you. New TNT shirts. Shout out to several of the people in the front row that I saw. I saw you guys from the balcony wearing the TNT shirts. You guys are great in Chicago at the HOG Inferno show. So shout out to you guys. You guys were awesome. Make sure you guys go get that. That is fourthwall.com. You can pick yours up today. It's a great looking design. Shout out to my guy Sal Rex who made that design for us. And it's basically all I got. So I'm going to pass the ball off to this guy. We have a busy show. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I just wanted to mention actually up front. Do you know what today is?
I feel like the last time you asked me this question, I was ridiculed because I didn't know about the Kane See No Evil Day, but I don't know. What are we celebrating? Sonic the Hedgehog and Super Mario today? What are we doing?
I won't hold it against you. Now, today is the 30-year anniversary of the King of the Ring in 1996. And at the King of the Ring in 1996, there was a very famous speech that was given by Stone Cold Steve Austin on that show, where he uttered a certain phrase that went on to sell a lot of T-shirts.
Now, has there been anything even remotely close to that phrase or to that promo since then?
I mean, in terms of what? In terms of merch sales?
Just impact on a business, or for a superstar, I should say.
Well, I mean, the pipe bomb was pretty important for Punk in 2011, I would say. But outside of that, nothing really off the top of my head that I would rank above that in terms of just importance, I guess, and significance. But here's the thing about this, though, and I talked about this on the Uncrowned Wrestling show today. You know, the thing is, as famous of a promo as that is, it is also overrated by people in this way. I think that there's this perception that he went out there, he cut this promo, he said, Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass, and everybody cheered. And like the very next night on Raw, there were Austin 316 signs all over the place, and he got a big push, and he was a main event guy. That's just not true. It's just demonstrably false. Like 2 months later at SummerSlam, he was wrestling Yokozuna in a 2-minute match on the pre-show, right? Like, it was not an overnight thing. It really wasn't until Bret Hart came back and he feuded with Bret, and that gave him the credibility that he needed as a top guy. So it would be nice to look back and go, well, this is the promo that vaulted him, you know, into the stratosphere. It really didn't. But once he did get super popular, you know, Austin 316 was this big thing. And I defy anybody to find me a wrestling t-shirt that has sold as many shirts and made as much money as that one has. I said, you know, like the only one that I could think of that maybe was comparable would have been the NWO.
Yeah.
And think about this, like they both came out that same year. That was both in 96.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that Austin 316, when you add up between the officially licensed ones and the bootleg ones, I can't imagine there's another pro wrestling shirt ever, like in the history of wrestling, that has sold as many shirts as that one.
I'm not even going to disagree with you. It's a factual statement. We'll be long gone before anything. That will never happen again in our lifetime, ever. So that was certainly a moment to live through, for sure. I didn't know that, but at King of the Ring, what else was on that King of the Ring? There was a great Undertaker Mankind match on that show, wasn't there?
That was their first match.
That was a fucking great match.
Yeah, that wasn't even their best one, but that was their first meeting, and he got a big win over the Undertaker. Ultimate Warrior wrestled Jerry Lawler on that show.
Was that the fabled night where Goldust kissed Ahmed Johnson in their IC title match too?
No, that was on Raw.
Oh, that was on Raw. Okay.
Yeah, that was. I want to say, actually, now that you mentioned that, I believe, and somebody will look this up and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the same night. I think that was Memorial Day. I think it was the same night that Scott Hall showed up on Nitro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an all right King of the Ring. I remember Mankind going through head first the announce table in that match with the Undertaker.
Not in that match.
That wasn't that match. What was?
No, you're thinking of a different match. You're thinking of that. That was an in your house match the following year.
Ah, yeah, I mean, there was just so many.
Revenge of the Taker.
That's right. Yeah, that was a fucking feud, man. Holy shit. Yeah, I got to go back and watch some of that stuff. But speaking of King of the Ring, we have the 2026 King of the Ring, and we're about to crown a king and queen. And this may not end up as legendary as Stone Cold Steve Austin. We are looking at Jey Uso, Jason, against Oba Femi, and Liv Morgan versus IYO SKY. Now, we'll start things with SmackDown. Let's just take it from the top because I know I watched SmackDown on the flight back from Chicago. I kind of took it all in there because I didn't really want to watch it when I got back home. But Cody Rhodes defended the WWE Championship against Gunther with Sami Zayn as the special guest referee. Now, I thought that they were going to close the show with this, and I know that they said it was going to be commercial-free. Looking back at it, I don't know why they didn't close the show with it, because what they actually did close the show with was something that shit the bed with Liv Morgan and Charlotte Flair. But looking back at it even further, they opened the show in a way, Jason, I said on Saturday when I went live with my SmackDown review, I actually liked the way SmackDown opened because it gave you a sense of importance, it gave you a sense of excitement, and it threw a little bit of chaos in there. With the start of the second match, and then Sami Zayn, is he going to turn on Cody? Is he going to fuck Cody over? I liked what they did here, even though it was a little hokey, and even though they made Gunther look like a complete geek, in my opinion. with him choosing Sami as the referee and then him getting so rattled that he powerbombs Sami and his anger issues towards...
Always a smart thing to do when you're wrestling for the World Championship, to powerbomb the referee.
I mean, this guy's lost a lot of his aura, and they got him doing things like that, man. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Regardless, I actually liked what they did. The match only went 12 minutes, but, man, Sami Zayn continues to be the most intriguing character across all of WWE television right now.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that show on Friday, I mean, he really is the most compelling part of the show. Yeah, I wouldn't have said that 6 months ago. I think you and I were saying the exact opposite. In fact, I think we were very ho-hum on Sami Zayn and his prospects of being world champion anytime in the near future. So it's amazing, the difference that 6 months can make. Outside of what they've been doing with him and Cody, there really is nothing else on the show that I would call compelling. There's no story or single star or character going on, at the moment or active on that show that really is drawing me in. This would be the closest thing to that. So I've been enjoying the whole last real good guy thing that he's been doing. He is more of a heel now, but it's kind of shades of gray. I mean, the reason they opened the show with it was precisely because of the angle they did. I mean, they had to do it that way because they came back later in the show to announce the big match for Night of Champions. So it was something they wanted to sort of spread out over the course of the show, which I get. But yeah, I mean, I said on my end, it introduced some chaos into a show that really could use some chaos. It almost felt very, attitude-esque in the way that they did the first match, and then we had the big, kind of, not brawl, but like all the commotion back at Gorilla, and then they sent them back out there for a rematch, and it was just like one thing after another. It kind of bled one segment into the other. It was different. And SmackDown could use something that's different. It can use a break in the formula. So, yeah, I didn't mind it. I kind of like what they did.
Yeah, Cody ended up keeping the title because they restarted the match, and after Sami got powerbombed by Gunther, he came back out and got some level of revenge on Gunther and basically gave him a haluva kick, which caused a no contest for the second match, which wasn't really much of a match. It was more of an angle than anything, but they ended up going 12 minutes. And they went 12 minutes at Clash in Italy. I'm hoping that this match at Night of Champions goes a little bit longer. I feel like if you got... hopefully.
It's the main event. It will. I mean, Cody and Gunther didn't even get the main event in Italy.
No, they went 12 minutes there. They went 12 minutes on Friday. So hopefully they do get a little bit more time on Saturday afternoon. So I really did enjoy that, as did Jason. The Tag Team Championships, I mean, they are absolutely fucking bottom of the barrel stuff here on Friday Night SmackDown. I saw a report today. I don't know where it was from, but apparently people in WWE are upset at the state of the tag team division on Friday Night SmackDown because legitimately all you're looking at is R-Truth and Damian Priest. You got the MFTs, who might not even be the MFTs by the time next Friday SmackDown comes, which was teased here on this show because they didn't want anything to do with Solo Sikoa in their match for the tag team titles. And Nathan Frazier and Axiom are working singles against Rey Fenix, which they're a great tag team in their own right. So we have the tag team titles here on the line, Jason. We have R-Truth and Damian Priest retaining over the MFTs. Some storyline developments here with Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tala Tonga, them walking away from Solo. I'll start there. What do you make of them potentially just dissolving the MFTs? I don't think that's a good idea for Tama Tonga and Tala Tonga because I think without the MFTs, they're basically dead in the water.
Yeah, I mean, they're dead in the water. I'm sorry. Like, I have no use for the MFTs. So, I mean, it may be bad news for the two of them, but it's good news for me. So, I think that in the end, my feeling coming out of that show on Friday was that even though he's saying the opposite, and then we saw him cost Jimmy his match on Raw last night, that in the end, we probably are going to get Solo back with the bloodline in some way. This MFTs things will go away, and he'll kind of realign with the family at some point, which I would prefer over building to some sort of War Games it's so far in the future, but some sort of match like Bloodline Civil War. Like, I have no appetite for that. And the MFTs don't even have enough people to do anything like that anyway. So if they want to dissolve the MFTs, that's fine with me. You could always keep Tama and Tala together as a team, and they just become another tag team on SmackDown, which at least gives them one more team. But they're going to need a lot more than just one more team. Yeah, you didn't mention Los Garza, but Los Garza, I feel like, is spending more of their time down in AAA now than they are on SmackDown.
Yeah, and one team that they moved to AAA and had them win the tag team championships is now back on Friday Night SmackDown in the War Raiders, and they are now getting the next shot at Damian Priest and R-Truth for whatever reason for the tag team championships, and this is just because
a Raw team.
They are.
So what are they getting a shot at them for? Was there a trade that I wasn't aware of?
You're asking me why WWE does these. This is what's coming up. I unfortunately read the spoilers, so this is what we have to look forward to.
Oh, okay. Well, I avoided that, but okay, well, that doesn't make any sense.
I won't divulge anything else I read, but that's what's in line for the tag team championships. They got to fix something. I don't know what's going to happen from this point on up until SummerSlam, but it's dire in that division, to say the least. We had Carmelo Hayes, Ricky Saints, winner faces Trick Williams, which we'll talk about tonight when we go over our Night of Champions predictions. Ricky Saints got the win over Carmelo. He's getting the match at Night of Champions. I said this on my review Saturday, Jason. I like that Ricky's getting this match here because me personally, I would rather Carmelo get the match at SummerSlam on the bigger stage. But the way Carmelo lost on Friday, the turnbuckle inadvertently came off. He smashed the back of his head on the exposed steel. Ricky Saints took advantage of that, and Ricky got the match. I'm going to assume Carmelo is going to screw over Ricky in Saudi Arabia, and then we'll probably get Carmelo and Trick possibly at Madison Square Garden, which I think is a great place for them to wrestle. They get the match there. Ricky does the same thing back to Melo, and we end up with a triple threat match at SummerSlam. I think they're all going to kind of remain involved with each other going into Minneapolis. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll all be involved. I mean, I don't see, Melo costing him his match or anything like that. I think there's already too many other situations on that show where people may show up and interfere. I wouldn't be doing that in every single match on the card. I think there's a better chance of Trick just beating him straight up. And it doesn't mean that Ricky would just suddenly lay down and die and he would no longer be involved in the U.S. title picture. I feel like we're going to get a triple threat at some point, maybe SummerSlam. How they come to that, if Ricky just loses clean here, I don't know, but they can basically do whatever they want. So, yeah, I mean, it's fine. You want to separate them out and do a singles match with these two, do a singles match. See, that's why I could see them doing a singles match with Melo and Trick not at SummerSlam. I could see them doing it before then, and then maybe doing a three-way at SummerSlam. Just something feels like it just feels to me like we're not going to get a singles match between Trick and Melo at SummerSlam.
Yeah. I know Ricky he's got this slow burn to him. He comes out, he gets no reaction. His theme music is terrible, by the way. I don't know.
It is. It's bad.
Whatever they decided, they tried to recreate his AEW theme. It's not working. They got that terrible AI spoken word, welcome to the revolution, or whatever the fuck it says. And then the music just doesn't hit. He gets no reaction. The crowd gave him a nice reaction when the match picked up because he's a great wrestler, as is Carmelo, but he hasn't really hit on the main roster yet. I would love for Melo to just get back involved. I'd love for Dragunov to get back. They got a really talented mid-card there. So we'll see what happens going into Night of Champions. I'm looking forward to Melo and Trick and their interactions for the United States title. Javon Evans and Jey Uso will be brief with this. The match was fine. If you watch one Jey Uso match, you watched every Jey Uso match. Javon was selling the ribs from the spear from Bron Breakker on Monday. And Jey Uso went on to win via pinfall. So he advances to face Oba. And then in the main event, we had Charlotte and Liv Morgan. Charlotte was attacked before the main event. Jade Cargill and the Not So Baddies took her out. And she sold a knee. The week before, she was selling a wrist. So she's all quote-unquote banged up. So Charlotte lost this match to Liv because of the knee. And Liv advances to wrestle IYO SKY at the pay-per-view. So that match was not anything special, and that was what closed SmackDown on Friday night. So I guess we'll talk about Night of Champions here, Jason, because really nothing happened on Monday Night Raw. I saw that you were very brief with your review. I mean, there was just really nothing to dive into storyline-wise. They basically gave you the most low-effort show that they could going into the pay-per-view. So hopefully what we get on Saturday kind of results in some kind of, I don't know, some uptick in business going into SummerSlam. So we'll start with the King of the Ring stuff. I'll start with the women. Now, they did announce that the ESPN first hour, ESPN proper, is getting both King and Queen of the Ring. I think that's going to factor into one of the matches here and why they're doing what they're doing. We'll talk about that in a second. But IYO versus Liv Morgan. What do you make of this? I feel like this is a slam dunk, easy, creative decision for Triple H, but I don't really know. Like, Liv Morgan makes no sense to win Queen of the Ring. I'm going IYO all the way. What do you think happens here?
Yeah, I mean, Liv Morgan is not going to win. I mean, Liv Morgan shouldn't have been in this in the first place.
No.
She's not going to win. It doesn't make any sense for her to win. We don't even know what Rhea Ripley's status is. We don't even know if Rhea Ripley's going to be defending the championship at SummerSlam. So, yeah, I mean, this should be a slam dunk win for IYO. And then I figure, IYO she wins and then probably ends up challenging Liv for the championship at SummerSlam. But maybe the question is how or if Stephanie Vicaire factors into this. Because there have been reports that some WWE stars have been plagued by visa issues. I don't know if she's one of those people, if she's kind of factored into that. If that's the case, then I suppose her status would be completely up in the air going forward for the foreseeable future. But let's assume that she's available. She's going to pop back up soon. I would not at all mind an IYO Stephanie straight singles rematch from the one we had at WrestlePalooza last year, and Liv doing something else completely. But maybe all three of them end up in some sort of match. I think there's a way to work Stephanie in there, but I definitely think IYO wins and then challenges for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam.
I would not mind that. I've been thinking about Stephanie wanting to include her in plans, but I have kind of moved away from that because we just don't know. We haven't heard anything, and I don't want to put her name in the discussions that we have and just kind of factor her in when we don't really know what's going on. I said last night on my Raw review that the interaction between Liv Morgan last night in the Judgment Day clubhouse with the rest of them after J.D. McDonough got electrocuted, and she's all like, huffing and puffing about Dominic and, IYO attacking her. Roxanne Perez was big leagued last night by Liv Morgan. She didn't give a shit what Roxanne Perez had to say, or she gave plans to Raquel and to Dominic, and Roxanne's like, well, what about me? And then she basically gave no answer. Do you see Roxanne Perez potentially costing Liv either this match on Saturday or the World Championship, and we get at SummerSlam Roxy versus Liv for the title, or in a just straight one-on-one match, depending on how we go here?
I mean, I could actually see her quote unquote inadvertently, costing her the Queen of the Ring. Where you have to imagine the Judgment Day will get involved, try to help Liv win, and then if there's a backfire, it would probably be involving Roxanne, where she kind of accidentally on purpose maybe, cost her the match, and then you just kind of go from there with that story, where Liv is livid, and you kind of build up the tension between her and Roxanne, who apologizes. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I think that could happen on Saturday. I don't think you have to wait until SummerSlam to do that.
Yeah, no, I actually like that. Inadvertently cost her the match with IYO. Then maybe she just purposely costs her the championship, whether it's against Stephanie or whoever else. Mm-hmm. I actually quite like IYO versus Stephanie at SummerSlam. I am thinking, and maybe this is foolish of me, thinking down the road. Yeah, I don't know if they're doing Crown Jewel this year. I don't know why they wouldn't. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns is certainly on the table there. That's obviously something that people are maybe discussing. Stephanie versus no,
we're not doing that.
No. You think they're going to balk on a third match with those guys?
They're not giving that away on a Crown Jewel. Nah.
When are we getting it then?
If they do that's a WrestleMania. That's a SummerSlam. That's not a Crown Jewel match. I'm sorry. You don't give that away, because a third match between them at some point could be a big deal. You don't give that away in a non-title scenario. The Crown Jewel title. Who gives a fuck? You don't give that away on a show like Crown Jewel. I'm sorry.
And listen, maybe we get a rematch with Sami and Roman at Crown Jewel. Who knows?
There's a better chance of that, I think, than Cody and Roman.
Well, where I wanted to go before Jason shot down my Cody and Roman idea. Stephanie, the world champion, against Rhea. I would much rather see that than Rhea and Liv again.
Well, no, or IYO and Rhea.
Or IYO and Rhea, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other idea that I had is if IYO when IYO wins the Queen of the Ring, I'm pretty confident she will, maybe she challenges Rhea at SummerSlam. Is that a possibility?
I mean, it's possible, but it wouldn't make any sense to me. Why would she pick her friend to go after?
Yeah. But there is really nobody on SmackDown for Rhea, though.
Yeah, but they split them up and they moved Rhea over to SmackDown. I also don't think they want to move EO over there too.
Yeah,
I think it's better for Raw if you keep EO on Raw.
Yeah. I actually I like the Stephanie thing. I was thinking about Rhea and EO just because looking at the landscape on SmackDown, if Rhea is able to go, there is really nobody because they got Charlotte tied up with Jade. Tiffany's the United States champion. There really isn't anybody kind of set up outside of JC Jane that they could do with Rhea, but she's got the girls going after the tag team titles.
Yeah, I mean, again, JC Jane has been rumored. I think False Finish had that report that she's at least in the discussions or the conversation, and I would be okay with that. I mean, it's not like a big marquee match or anything like that, but if they wanted to do Rhea and JC's a way to elevate JC, even if she doesn't win, that's fine. I'm okay with that. That's fine. It's a fresh match.
Yeah, it is. King of the Ring. Now, like I said, they announced that both King and Queen finals are taking place on ESPN proper in the first hour. I would assume that Oba and Jey opens the show. Now, they did announce this, and the first thing that I thought of was Brock Lesnar, because this fits right into what Brock Lesnar does. He usually shows up, they put him on early, he does what he has to do, and then he leaves. Did you get that sense last night when they announced that both of these matches would be taking place on the first hour, or am I just losing my mind?
I mean, I got that sense regardless of where in the show it's going to air.
Yeah, it's so egregious to have it happen in the first match, though.
I don't think the fact that it's on ESPN doesn't. I mean, we all kind of suspected that it would happen anyway, regardless. So it certainly doesn't change my mind, about Brock showing up. I thought there was a chance he might show up last night in London, and he didn't. And it just, to me, it wouldn't even make any sense for him not to show up. But I go a different way with this. So I don't know what your thought process is on this. I have the same fears that you do. When it comes to King YEET, there's no scenario that I can think of. Now, I understand that there's story there if you want to do Jey and Roman, or if you want to do Jey and Cody, or Jey and Sami, right? I don't give a shit.
Jey and Gunther?
Oh, my God. Regardless, none of these scenarios, not one of them, appeal to me. Not one of them interests me in the slightest. So any Jey Uso win to me is going to be just like, it's going to be, not of interest to me. I think that I'm going with Oba Femi to win. I feel like Oba Femi must win. I feel like Jey Uso beating Oba Femi, interference or not, would be ridiculous. And he already lost to Brock. And I feel like there's a way to do it at least, and even this to me is not an ideal scenario, but there is a way to go about doing it where Oba wins. Brock, I fully expect Brock to be there on Saturday. But my take is that Brock, he interferes, maybe there's a ref bump or whatever. He gets involved, he F5s him 5 times, whatever it is, and Oba still kicks out. Like, despite him getting involved, Oba still wins. And then you go in the direction of doing the split match at SummerSlam, where, he gets Brock on night 1, and then he gets Roman. Let's say he picks Roman, he gets Roman on night 2. And you have Oba wrestling twice on the same show. And in that scenario, it doesn't necessarily mean that Oba beats Brock and then loses to Roman. It doesn't necessarily mean he beats Brock and beats Roman. He could very well lose to Brock and beat Roman. I mean, again, there's a bunch of different ways you can go with doing that. I just feel like Jey Uso, he just should not win this match. Oba needs to win. If Oba wins, I cannot imagine him picking Cody. I just don't. I understand they had a match on Saturday night's main event last year. I don't see him picking Cody. And so I think if he wins, Roman is the guy. He teased it last night. He even put it to a vote. He said, if I could pick the WWE Championship, and the reaction was like lukewarm. And then he said, or I could go after the World Heavyweight Championship, and everybody cheered, right? And that told them everything they need to know. Like, there's an interest in that match. I think Oba needs to win. I think Oba does win. Even if Brock interferes, I don't think it works.
Now, I know we talked about this particular scenario last week, and we both came up with a sound reason that if they do Oba on night 1 against Brock and then Oba versus Roman on night 2, they are basically splitting Oba's real estate that whole weekend and giving 50% of his attention to Brock and 50% of his attention to Roman. Do you think that is a good way to go about it, to give Roman 50% of Oba's attention, when that in itself should be given a proper story, weeks of build, and a payoff in a match?
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal.
No.
I just said it's not ideal, but to me, it's the only way to go at this point. It's the only way to go because we know they're not going to have Brock come back and wrestle anybody else in Minneapolis except Oba. So if you assume that match is happening no matter what, that would mean that Oba loses King of the Ring. I don't want to see him lose King of the Ring, and I think it would be terrible for him to lose King of the Ring because of what that means. So I'm coming at this from the point of view of, okay, how do we navigate this with him winning King of the Ring, understanding that he's going to wrestle Brock at SummerSlam, but you got 2 nights of SummerSlam. So in a perfect world, I would not have Oba Femi wrestling twice in one weekend, but in this situation, to me, it's the best of the circumstances that we're presented with. So yeah, it's not ideal that he would get 50% of Roman's attention. I also don't think, though, if they wrestle that weekend, that would be the only Brock or Oba Femi Roman Reigns match that we would be getting. It's the first, but I don't think it would be the only one. I don't think it would stop them from rematching them, let's say, at WrestleMania next year.
Yeah.
Especially if Oba loses.
Yeah.
It doesn't beat Roman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a difficult thing to even see as well, because it kind of leads into my next point. I think that is probably the most sound option here, though it's not the one I'd go with here out of every option that we've had available. And we shouldn't even be in this situation as we have Jey Uso maybe winning King of the Ring. But with that potentially happening, do you think that after everything we've gotten over the last 2 years, where this company has legitimately every single time, and we've begged them to not do this, Triple H has basically played it Sesame Street. He's played it very safe. This is a ballsy move. I don't know how, I don't know why they would do this after everything we've gotten. The last time they took a chance like this was WrestleMania 40, and that was the ultimate payoff. To me, it doesn't make sense for Brock and Oba to, unless there's like a title shot on the line or a career thing on the line for Brock, from night 1 leading into night 2. At least with Cody, it made sense with Roman because all the characters had weeks of build. That big payoff on Saturday led to what happened on Sunday. It would just be them trying to recreate that moment here for the sake of recreating that moment so that they can come off as unpredictable. Do you feel with what we've seen over the last 2 years that they actually have it within themselves to be that crazy? I don't think that they have that in them to do that. Maybe not.
I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm not one who's going to give them the benefit of the doubt or anything like that because they probably don't deserve it. But I'm trying to be somewhat optimistic here. I'm just laying it out as I see it, as what I feel like would be the best scenario here. Because we are where we are. I don't think you or I would have Jey Uso in the finals to begin with. Right? I think that's safe to say.
Yes.
So just given the situation, given where we're at, I feel like this is going to be the best option. Do they have the balls to do it? Do they have the creativity to do it? I don't know. My intuition tells me no. I'm just telling you what I think is the best of a bad situation here, because I don't think this is the King of the Ring final that any of us were hoping to see.
Do you think that there is a possibility that Oba gets attacked and we get someone to fill in his place on Saturday, or is that out the window?
Well, I mean, that was my idea that I first talked about a few weeks ago, and I think it's still possible. I just think, like, at this point, it's probably very unlikely, because if it was going to happen, it probably would have happened last night. You give a week lead time, he gets taken out.
Yeah.
You give people a week to start thinking, like, what are they going to do? Who's going to be the replacement? Now it's like, it wouldn't even make any sense now, because what are you going to do? You're going to have, you just said, like, they're in the opening hour on ESPN. It may be the first match on ESPN. And they're in Saudi Arabia. So are we to believe that they're going to go on the air on the pre-show, let's say, on Saturday and say, oh, Oba's been attacked. Or Oba's attacked as he's about to come out to the ring. We need somebody to take his place, and there happens to be what? CM Punk or Randy Orton is just standing around waiting in Saudi to come out and take his place. Like at this point, it doesn't even make any sense. So no, it seems very unlikely that's going to happen.
Well, regardless, chat, we are dwindling it down to only a couple of options here that they've left us with. Jason's going with Oba. He's trying to be optimistic. I'm more of I'll believe it when I see it type of guy. And what they've done with Jey Uso, you got to show me that you're not going to push him as hard as you are. I'm going Jey Uso. Believe it or not, I'm going Jey Uso. Not because I want him to win, but because I don't trust Triple H to give us anything better. So that is the king and queen of the ring. Steel cage match, Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker. I think.
Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: Is this your favorite King of the Ring final since Mabel and Savio Vega in 1995?
Well, I don't think anything is as bad as that, but I mean, we'll wait for the outcome.
I don't know.
Let me ask you a rebuttal question. Would Jey Uso be a worse King of the Ring winner than Mabel?
No. Mabel was worse.
Okay. All right. We will see. I'm going Uso. Jason's going Oba. Steel cage match with Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. I would assume that this is tailor-made for a Seth Rollins victory. I was hoping that this would be the de facto number one contender match, not officially, but this would lead Rollins to Roman at SummerSlam. I don't think we're going there after what we've been seeing. I don't know what Rollins does at SummerSlam. I just, in my opinion, feel he needs to be removed from this vision vortex. But I feel like even going into SummerSlam, he's going to still be trapped in that vision vortex. I think he'll get the win over Bron Breakker. And I think somehow, some way, with Bronson Reed on his way back, we'll probably get some mix mash of the Prophets and the Vision and Rollins and Joe Hendry. What do you make of this situation?
I'm figuring Rollins is going to get the win here. I think Rollins, once he beats Breakker, he's done with the Vision. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like that's got to be it as far as him and the Vision go.
It should be it, yes.
I mean, it doesn't make it. I mean, the only healthy members that are currently medically cleared are Bron Breakker and Austin Theory. So unless they're planning a Seth Rollins Bronson Reed feud when he comes back, I think it's safe to say that this is going to be it for Rollins and the Vision. And then for SummerSlam, the only match I could really think of that would make sense, honestly, would be, him and Roman. But again, what we're talking about in pitching here is a completely different idea. So if Rollins was going to go in a different direction for SummerSlam, I don't know. I don't know who that would be. They haven't set anything up. I mean, it's not like he's still feuding with Montez Ford. They put their differences aside. They had a match on Raw. So, I mean, they're not doing that. I don't know, if not Roman, what Seth would be doing on that show. Is there anybody else that they've even hinted at that he's had issues with, that he could go off and wrestle on that show?
Well, the only other person probably would have been LA Knight, but that was when LA Knight was still mixing it up with the Vision. And now he hasn't been. He's more Bloodline than anything.
Well, he bounces back and forth between the two. It's basically, over the last 3 years, he's basically been either in the Bloodline vortex or the Vision vortex. He kind of bounces back like a ping pong ball between the two of them. He could always bounce back to the other way.
I guess. I don't know.
He got a win. He got a win on Raw last night.
He did. It wasn't clean, but he got a win.
Yeah, and it wasn't even really a win for him. It was more like Solo Sikoa won the match. So, even when he wins, there's got to be some kind of fuckery going on where somebody else is involved. But I was like, man. And you know what the saddest part was of watching that, the end of that match, if you noticed? After he went over to Jimmy and he hit the BFT, which is his finishing move, nobody reacted. Dude, it was silent.
Well, that whole crowd fucking sucked last night.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, because I went on a bit of a rant last night, and I'm gonna take you to task if you're one of these people, because I'm not saying there aren't times where there is a genuinely good show and you just get a bad crowd, right? There are times where that can happen. But it really pisses me off because so many times, and this happens with WWE, this happens with AEW, This actually just happened recently, I think, with Meltzer, where if you get a bad crowd for a show, people are inclined to blame the crowd. Why is this crowd so quiet? How come this crowd wasn't reacting to anything? I mean, this is just a bad crowd tonight. And I'm like, why don't you look at it a different way? Which is that if you actually gave that crowd something to cheer for and get excited about, then they probably would have reacted better to it. There were a lot of times where it goes that way, where it's like, this really wasn't that great of a show. And so I understand why the crowd maybe wasn't reacting in the way that you normally would think they would react. It was surprising because London is usually a very loud crowd, and they're chanting stuff and they're singing. And there was some of that last night. Like Oba got a great reaction. I mean, you could pick certain people who, even Jey Uso when he came out, everybody was yeeting and everything. But you got to stop blaming the crowd in a lot of these cases, because so many of these shows are just not good.
I know.
Imagine paying money and the kind of money WWE charges to go to these shows for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And you watch the same shows that I watch, and you know how bad some of these shows can be. You can't and I'm not saying you, but you can't be blaming the crowd for that. The crowd will reward you with a great reaction if you give them something to get excited about. And maybe the fact that this is happening so often is a product of just these shows are fucking boring. But then I hear people it's the crowd's fault. Bad crowd, bad crowd.
No. We know these shows are boring.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't look at it last night as, man, London really let us down. It's maybe London is sending a message, because normally London would be boisterous and maybe they were for SmackDown. I don't know. They taped SmackDown in London also.
Well, you're never going to know, because they're going to pipe in audience noise anyway.
Oh, yeah. So. Oh, please. I mean, they get a chance. You got to think it's a fucking World Cup game when you watch SmackDown on Friday. It's going to be so loud. But yeah, again, maybe just pay attention to these reactions that these crowds are giving you, because maybe you're not giving them what they would like to see in some cases.
Yeah, I didn't blame the crowd at all on my end.
Well, you just said it was a bad crowd.
It was a bad crowd because it was a terrible show. It was a boring show.
Okay, but that's a good crowd. Because it would be a bad crowd if they were reacting.
Well, yeah, you can look at it that way too, but it was a bad crowd as a result of bad WWE booking and boring show. So
okay, but I look at it differently. I look at it as a good. We need crowds that are going to react honestly. I don't want them cheering a terrible show, because it's just going to reinforce. They're going to make them think that, okay, well, they love what we're doing. We're just going to keep doing it. If you give them a bad show, you should have a bad reaction from the crowd. At the end of the day, no matter what changes in wrestling, and I know ticket sales maybe aren't as important as media rights deals now. It's a different wrestling business now than it was 20 or 30 years ago. But one thing has been constant. You look to the audience, right? You look to the live crowds. You look to the audience. Who's getting a reaction? Who's not getting a reaction? What are they excited for? What are they sitting on their hands for? That hasn't changed. So to me, the crowd is still the most important element to these shows.
I agree. The other excuses I heard last night as to why the crowd was not all there was it was 95 degrees and that part of the world is going through a heat wave, so the fans were hot, and there's not AC in that part of London. And B, World Cup. Everybody was more invested in the World Cup. I'm like, okay. So they're more invested in the World Cup, but they find themselves at Monday Night Raw at the O2 Arena.
People will always have an excuse. You mean to tell me there was no air conditioning in that building?
I don't know if it was that. I'm sure the O2 has.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the O2 has working air conditioning.
I don't know. Who's over there? Can you confirm that not everywhere has air conditioning? Which is fucking inhumane in my opinion.
You make it sound like the UK's it's a fucking third world country over there. They have no air conditioning. I'm sure they have air conditioning if it was that hot.
Anyway, Rollins over Breaker in the steel cage match. Tiffany Stratton defends the United States Championship versus Jade Cargill. How many times, Jason, did they wrestle before this? Was it 3-4 times?
I believe 4 times, I believe.
None of which I remember.
The two big ones were SummerSlam last year, and which Tiffany won, and then Saturday night's main event, which is where Jade won the belt.
None of which I remember. I do not care about this. I can't imagine this is going to result in anything better than what we've already been given. Tiffany Stratton wins here. Do you see Charlotte getting involved, being that Jade calls Charlotte the Queen of the Ring?
it would make sense to me. I mean, this woman was about to go out there for a Queen of the Ring match and had her knee taken out. Why would Charlotte not return the favor to Jade? We know that's going to be the SummerSlam match.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're clearly building to that. So if I'm Charlotte, I don't know why I don't get involved and cost her the chance to be champion.
I agree. Going Tiffany Stratton to retain. What Tiffany does at SummerSlam, that remains to be seen. And then we have...
If anything.
Yeah, if anything. I mean,
You're assuming she's going to defend the title at SummerSlam.
Like, silly me. United States title on SummerSlam?
Well, I got news for you. The only reason she's defending the title on this show is because Rhea Ripley is hurt.
Yes.
So this match wouldn't even be happening on this show if Rhea was healthy.
Yes, 100%. And then Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints for the Men's United States Championship. Trick Williams will retain. No reason at all to take the belt off of Trick Williams. And that is... Actually, we got one more. How could I forget? Cody, Gunther, Sami Zayn, Undisputed Championship, main event of Night of Champions. You know, I think I was maybe one of the first people that have publicly stated in the community that I think WWE should absolutely belt Sami Zayn. People looked at me like I had fucking 6 heads. How could you, man? That's a terrible idea and all this other nonsense. Now I see more people kind of warming up to the idea, which I didn't think was a terrible idea to begin with. I could sit here and tell you, Jason, and tell everybody here in the chat that I think Sami should win this match, and I do think he should win this match. I don't think WWE is going to pull the trigger on it. I just don't. I don't feel like they have it within them to take the belt off Cody Rhodes. It's like severing that tie between the company and Cody that they can't physically just do. Sami should win the belt, and I'm thinking if we end up the way we are and Oba does win and he gets Roman, I would not mind Sami and Cody main eventing SummerSlam. I think that is absolutely a night one main event. I could get behind that 100%. I think if Sami and Cody do get a rematch one-on-one at SummerSlam, I would absolutely belt Sami coming out of SummerSlam, and then you can have at least a month or 2 months Sami Zayn world title run. I wouldn't even mind if he won it here and then lost it back to Cody, but we've been there, done that with Cody. He lost the belt. He won it back from Cena. That happened at SummerSlam. I think we do Sami, Cody, SummerSlam if all things kind of work out the way we want for the World Championship. I don't think he wins the belt here on Saturday.
I think he does.
Okay.
I'm going to go Sami Zayn to win the WWE Championship.
And then we rematch?
And then, yeah, probably. Yeah, because Cody's going to be in one of the 2 main events at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break. Of course, he's going to be in one of those matches. So, yeah, and maybe part of it is like, this is more of a hope than anything else, because as we said before, he really has become the most compelling thing on that show every week. And he's got a good thing going right now. But it's kind of sad that I think we're sitting here saying this. You're picking Cody, I'm picking Sami, and we're not even talking about the possibility of Gunther winning the championship.
No.
And he's coming off. I mean, he just lost. I guess technically that second match on Friday was thrown away, I guess. But he's coming off 2 straight losses. If you don't count the Crown Jewel match from 2 years ago, which would make it 3 straight losses. So technically he's 0 for 3 against Cody Rhodes. And this is a guy who was so heavily protected. And they gave him the John Cena spot in Cena's last match. They gave him, AJ Styles, his last match at the Royal Rumble. And then they had nothing for him. There was a period of 3 or 4 weeks where he just disappeared from television altogether. Right? The whole thing with him and Seth Rollins was just so slapdash, almost like last minute heading into Mania. He's lost a lot in the last 6 months. I don't mean like matches. I mean in terms of just aura. I hate to use this word, but yes, aura. He's lost a lot in the last 6 months.
Yeah, he feels like just anybody else on the roster.
He's just another guy now on that show.
he's just another guy.
He's just another guy on SmackDown. And I sit here and I'm like, if he wins and you and I think that Cody is going to be in the main event no matter what, does that entice you? Another Cody and Gunther match at SummerSlam when we've already seen it 3 times in the last month?
And my question is, if we do go if we do go Cody and Sami at SummerSlam, what does Gunther do at SummerSlam? What do they have him doing on SmackDown at SummerSlam? I can't even think of anything.
I don't know.
how they fumbled this guy coming out of John Cena's retirement is just a fumble of epic proportions. I look at it, you can predate it back to when Gunther and Jey Uso wrestled at WrestleMania, and Gunther tapped out to Uso in about 3 seconds. I think it all started the downfall there. They really sacrificed Gunther for Jey Uso, and it all started the downfall at that point in time, and he never recovered. I don't think people ever looked at him the same. I don't know if you agree with that, but I haven't looked at him the same.
I mean, some people, maybe some people, but I mean, they did a good job late last year after he came back. I don't know what the issue was with his nose, but after he lost the title to Punk, he went away for a while. After SummerSlam came back, he was in the John Cena tournament, and then he beat Cena. He was able to regain, I think, a lot of what he had, perceived to have lost coming out of that. It's just what's happened over the last 6 months, which is not a whole hell of a lot. That to me, like the last 6 months have done more damage than that, just by virtue of him not doing a whole lot. And then when he finally gets a shot at the championship on the other brand, he loses. And then he loses again. And I understand, like, the first time his foot was under the rope, and then on Friday, Sami screwed him. And so he has these built-in excuses. But still, he got beat. So, yeah, sure. I mean, there's a possibility he could win on Saturday. I don't see it. But if he wins, I don't like what that means for SummerSlam. Because at that point, it's too much. We've already seen. It's like the same reason I did not want Cody and Drew at WrestleMania. If you would have done Cody and Drew again at WrestleMania, we already saw it a whole bunch of times. Like, you could not just run that back as the WrestleMania main event. I feel the same way here. Like, if Gunther wins the title and then Cody challenges him for it in August, it's like, been there, done that. I don't want to see that again. I'd rather he not win the belt.
Yeah.
I'd rather he lose again and not win the belt on Saturday. And then if Sami's going to win the championship, as I think he will, let him pin Cody in that triple threat match.
Absolutely.
You can still protect Gunther by not pinning him again. But I think if Sami does win the belt, he will and should pin Cody to do it.
Any chance of another triple threat match at SummerSlam?
Another one?
I don't.
You're gonna go back.
What else does he do?
It's still. I don't know. And here's the thing. I don't care. I really don't care.
That's sad. I don't care either.
I'm kind of over it.
We don't know where Punk lands. We don't know if he's going to be back before SummerSlam. We're assuming he will.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a few months ago, I had pitched this idea of maybe it's SummerSlam, like a SummerSlam match. Once Gunther got moved over to Fridays, between Gunther and Ilya Dragunov.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's a visa. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's just been gone. So I don't know when we're going to see him again. Every time I see him, he's training in the dungeon. I'm like, okay, well, that's great. I don't really think he necessarily needs to be.
So he's training at Natty's dungeon, and he's not on TV.
Yeah. He's been training at Natty's dungeon now for weeks and weeks. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, there's been photos. He's there for like every dungeon training session.
If WWE ain't putting him on TV and it's their own fucking decision to do that, that's awful. Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so again, I don't know with the visa stuff if it's more like you can't work. So maybe he's training, but he can't work. And again, we're just spitballing. We don't know if it's a visa issue. We are just so mystified by how he just vanished and is not being used on TV. We have to assume there's a valid reason for it. We're just assuming there has to be some valid reason for it. He's not injured, so it's not an injury. What else would it be? But the fact is, he hasn't been around, and so there hasn't been ample time to build to that. That would be, like on the undercard, Gunther against Ilya Dragunov as a SummerSlam match. That would have been fucking great. But doesn't look like that's in the cards. So what does he do? Fuck if I know. I don't know what he does.
Serve Kool-Aid to the rest of the catering. I don't know what he's doing.
Is he even on the show?
Knowing this company, no. Probably not. Where's McIntyre? I saw some people in the chat asking where McIntyre is. McIntyre is Mr. Hollywood now. He's got one movie in the can, and now he's filming another one. So McIntyre probably won't be back until the late fall, early winter.
Did you see that we had a proper star? Yeah, they always cut to the crowd on these shows to show all the celebrities in the crowd, and it's like Zuffa Boxings. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this person? But last night they had Jason Statham was in the crowd.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm like, holy shit, an actual star, an actual celebrity is in the crowd.
Now, is he a fan of WWE legitimately? I don't know. Or was he paid to be there?
No, he was. I don't think he was paid to be there.
Okay.
I think he was there with his kids, right? He had a bunch of kids with him.
Yes.
So I assume his kids are a fan, or maybe he's a casual fan. He's got a new movie coming out soon. Because the last couple of times I went to the movies, they have had a trailer for it, this movie called Mutiny, where it's on like a ship.
Yeah.
And, he just kills a bunch of people. So I'm all about that.
You like a good movie death, don't you?
So sounds good to me. Yeah. I said it looks like Die Hard 2 was on a plane. Instead of being on a plane, it's on a ship.
Yeah, they just announced Blair Witch is coming next year.
So is that like a reboot? Total reboot?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's a reboot. I heard the last one was terrible.
Yeah, it said September 2027. I saw the little teaser for it. You know what else I saw? I think they made the announcement at one of these conventions a few days ago. There is, it surprised me. I guess this has been in the works for a while. But
yeah, I saw this. I was going to at you today, but I figured you already saw it.
Yeah, I mean, so Thundercats is getting a movie, but it's animated.
Oh, I thought you were talking about new Halloween. New Halloween movies going to production too.
I didn't see that.
Yes, I saw that today on Twitter. I was going to at you on that, but I figured you already saw it. But apparently you didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought they were giving that a rest for a few years.
No, I heard it's been green lit. I don't know when filming starts. I think 2027, late 2027.
I got to look at it. No, it's a Thundercats animated movie.
Interesting. You know, yes. I was what was I? Thundercats. I don't know if I was big into Thundercats. I am familiar with Thundercats, but yeah, I'd be into a lot of this. All like early '80s, mid '80s nostalgia is just fucking kicking ass nowadays.
Well, I wouldn't say it's kicking ass. I mean, what I was going to say is like Masters of the Universe was a gigantic flop. So the fact that they're doing a Thundercats movie, at first when I heard that, I said, "Wait, if this is live action, this is going to fucking die on the vine," because. It was one of these things, kind of like He-Man, that was really super popular, but for a very limited. It didn't really carry over into the '90s and the 2000s. So, like, what kind of drawing power is a Thundercats movie in 2020? I don't even know when it comes out. Let's say 2027. Like, what kind of drawing power is that movie going to have? But if it's animated, at least I can't imagine it's going to have like a super high budget. And I don't even know if it would get a theatrical release. It could be like one of these streaming service kind of things. But
it'll appeal to the old fogies like us.
Sure. I'm like, I'm okay with that. Lino and
maybe they should have made He-Man fucking animated.
Yeah. They still might.
Oh man, gotta love it. Early, late '80s nostalgia, man. I'm on this Transformers kick. I was telling Jason in the sound check. I got these Hasbro fucking like Megatron, my big Megatron one that talks and moves on its own. I got Optimus Prime and Soundwave on the way coming to the house. So I've been on this Transformers kick lately because we're celebrating 40 years.
You're gonna have a whole Transformers fleet.
That's the whole. Yeah, I mean, well, my mom threw them all away when I got older. I had the original ones, but. I'll never be able to replace that stuff, but
that'd be worth something today.
Yes, because when I went to Comic-Con a couple of years ago, the original Optimus Prime and Megatron were in a display case in their sealed boxes. Megatron was going for $12,000. I'm like, you motherfucker! I had it in my hands, and then it was in the trash the next time.
Yeah, but that's probably like mint condition. Though.
Yes.
None of my toys were in mint condition. I'd beat the shit out of those things.
One of these years, I'll buy it. When I'm retired from pro wrestling content, I'll spend all my earnings on fucking Megatron. The only thing I want to talk about from Raw, because like we talked about earlier, was it was largely a boring show. The heel turn from Lyra on Bayley. You kind of felt it was telegraphed coming into the match, or it was either going to be Bayley or Lyra turning. I'm glad that they actually made it Lyra, Jason. Because we've seen a Bayley heel turn. I thought she was a great heel. I wouldn't have personally minded it again. But seeing Lyra now kind of go into heel mode, I don't think she really connected with the audience. I think there was some connection there, but it was never really fully embraced by the fan base. I think her kind of over the top kind of comedy, just like her sense of humor, her attitude, her sassiness didn't really connect with the audience. I'm going to be very interested to see what Triple H does with the heel Lyra, how we get that character shift from what we got to where we are now. What'd you make of them actually making the decision here?
I mean, I prefer that over just turning Bayley heel again. I feel like Bayley's gone back and forth a few times now. Last time she was hearing voices in her head, and then she just wasn't anymore. So they kind of just dropped it. So it was kind of a swerve because I think most people would have expected if anybody was going to go heel, it was going to be Bayley. And instead it was Lyra. And I've never seen Lyra as a heel, so I don't know if she can pull it off. I don't know if WWE can pull it off. We trusted WWE with a John Cena heel turn last year, and we see how that worked out. I would certainly hope that they can have more success with this. And so if they give Lyra the freedom to kind of make it her own, we'll see. Again, I think she's a great babyface. I question whether or not she can pull off the heel thing. I don't know if that means maybe changing the music and changing other aspects of her, her presentation. But somebody in my live chat last night, they had a great line. I was talking about the segment. They go, we call her Bird Girl. And they said Angry Bird. She's an angry bird now.
Yes.
I said, yes. Yes, she is.
She's an angry bird.
She's an angry bird.
And if she was in AEW, she would be a part of the Brawling Birds.
Well, hey, they have trios titles, right? So
yeah, there you go.
At least for the men, they do. So they could always go after those.
Do they have who are the trios champions now? Oh yeah, the conglomeration, right?
The conglomeration.
Oh, I'm surprised I remember that, honestly. And then we had Chad Gable. Chad Gable tried to apologize to Alpha Academy, but Maxine did not want Chad Gable's apology. Akira just went along with Maxine. Otis very much wanted to accept Chad Gable's apology. What do you make of this, Jason? Because the last time last few weeks, we've been seeing Maxine with Austin Theory or hanging out with Austin Theory in the back with the Vision in their limousine or their rental car. I don't know if this is playing into where we're going with Maxine and this new attitude change from Maxine to Chad Gable, but what do you think that this is going to mean for Chad Gable going into SummerSlam?
Well, what it should mean is Chad Gable is going to be wrestling Penta for the Intercontinental Championship, because there was a segment in the back later in the show where he was talking to Adam Pearce, and I think Gable brought up Penta, and then Dom came over and said, whoa, wait a minute, you're not jumping the line here. So that gave me hope that's where ultimately we're gonna land with this. But I mean, if you were to watch this, and then if you kind of put two and two together with the whole Maxine and Theory thing, my first thought was, okay, are we going to end up with the Vision and the Alpha Academy, with Chad Gable sort of either rejoining or realigning with Otis and Tozawa, which I think would be fucking terrible. I mean, look, it's okay to have friends, but my God, please don't drag this out any longer than it has to, because they're at a certain level, and that's still where Gable is. But Gable needs to be at a level above that. And I just feel like the longer he's sort of stuck with these people, that's not where he needs to be. I think people like Otis, and I think they'll like it when the day comes that they finally shake hands and they hug and they'll get a big pop. But I can't say the idea of like Vision and Alpha Academy necessarily appeals to me. I still think it's SummerSlam, though. I think the direction is going to be Gable and Penta. I think they will find their way there, because I just cannot imagine. All right, I shouldn't say that. I can imagine, but I hope they don't fumble by not putting him in a major match on that show in his hometown. I would like to think that they are smart enough to understand, like, this is the perfect time to put him in the ring, wrestling for a championship. That's the championship for him to go after. That would be a great match to do. He's going to be super over in Minneapolis. Penta's super over everywhere he goes. It'll be a great wrestling match. And what a great moment for him to win the title finally in Minneapolis.
I agree. I can't disagree with anything you said.
It should not go any other way. That's exactly how it needs to go down.
Well, WrestleVotes reported that there is a big internal push to feature Chad Gable at SummerSlam in a very significant way. Obviously, the Minneapolis tie, we all know. Sources indicated his hometown ties are a major factor in talks about giving him a prominent role on the card. Also fueling these conversations is the wave of fan support Gable's received because of El Grande Americano in AAA, which culminated in the obvious unmasking at Noche de los Grandes for AAA a few weeks back, where he lost that match to Ludwig Kaiser. WrestleVotes also added that many within WWE view Gable as one of the company's most gifted performers. Well, I'm glad they realized that. We've realized that for the last fucking 10 years.
So my question to that is, as we hear these reports, you would think that this guy was like a rookie or something, and they just discovered him. Like he's some blue chip prospect. He's been there for over a fucking decade. So what exactly took them so long to come to this realization about Chad Gable is what I would like to know.
I don't know. Maybe.
What is it that we saw in Chad Gable that he, working for that company, and these people who work for the company did not see previously? I
couldn't tell you. I don't know. Maybe they don't. Everything before Shorty G, maybe they just kind of omitted that. Maybe they just take what's after Shorty G.
I see.
I don't know. Yes, he's the most gifted performer in the entire industry. One of the most gifted performers in the entire industry. Never mind the fucking company, but
the single most underappreciated, underutilized talent in that company, Chad Gable.
Is this a contract year for him too?
I have not heard anything about his contract. I have no idea. I don't
know.
I haven't heard anything. I've seen no reports about his contract status.
Well, he needs that IC title at SummerSlam. Penta is the right way. And hopefully, like I've been saying, I made a fucking Instagram reel that went kind of semi-viral there on my Instagram page. I mean, it's a slam dunk. Jason thinks it's a slam. We've been saying for weeks, slam dunk. Like you want creative. It doesn't have to be overly complicated. I mean, it's just you take one guy, you take another guy, you put him in a title match, and you make the guy who's in Minneapolis, born and raised, win the match. Boom, done. I don't see what the big deal is, but WrestleVote says that they believe he is the most gifted of some of the roster there, and he's got big plans for him at SummerSlam. Hopefully, Triple H is on that same path. The other news and note here before we get into some of this TNA stuff, because that's basically rounding out the WWE stuff. There was a SmackDown cancellation, just to throw this out there for you guys. This was, to me, I thought this was humorous. Meltzer said that WWE is canceling an upcoming Cincinnati SmackDown taping. September 4th, SmackDown's been scheduled for the Heritage Bank Center in Cincinnati. That will no longer take place. Cancellation was surfaced by Ticketmaster, and WWE's ticketing page no longer lists the September 4th date. Meltzer, in the Friday's Wrestling Observer Daily Update, said there were logistical issues and production-related issues surrounding the show. Now, logistical issues and production-related issues were in quotations. Importantly, there will reportedly still be an episode of SmackDown that airs on September 4th. Meltzer noted that the episode will likely be taped either the Friday before in Cleveland or the following Monday Night Raw. Though he clarified that the decision has not been finalized, canceling the live Cincinnati show also gives the talent Friday ahead of Labor Day weekend off. Now, one of my first go-tos here, Jason, is the fact that maybe the show wasn't selling well and WWE canceled the show. There may logistically be a reason behind the whole Labor Day thing, and they just wanted to give the roster off for Labor Day and then kind of come back the next week and just resume business. But normally, when I hear stuff like this, it's like, well, they weren't selling well, and WWE just wanted to cancel the show altogether and move to a smaller venue.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just that show, though. There was a Raw that got canceled at the end of August. So it was more than one show. So once I saw that second show was canceled, I assumed there must have been some sort of logistical reason for it.
Well, that's what happened. That's what's happening there. So if you guys are in the Cincinnati area and we're planning to go see SmackDown on September 4th, no longer. TNA.
Yeah, it was Raw in Charlotte, booked for August 30th, rescheduled to February of 2027.
Okay, there you go.
What they're going to replace it with, I have no idea.
All right, so that's that. That's the WWE stuff. There is a lot of TNA stuff. We'll get into some AEW stuff as well for the Forbidden Door show on Sunday. And we want to thank you guys for joining us here on TNT. It is episode 152. Super chats are open. I see you guys kind of coming in with some mini bombs. I appreciate that. Jason does as well. Thumbs up. We got 534 likes. Let's try for a cool, modest 800 on this Tuesday night. If you guys are in the chat, just joining us, thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Now, TNA, there's a lot of TNA news. Slammiversary is taking place this weekend. Looks to be a decent show, one of the biggest weekends of their calendar year. And the big news this week is that, and we talked about this last week here right on this show, why don't they take some of that money and maybe just kind of bulk up the creative, maybe switch some names out?
What money?
There is no money. They're bleeding.
I'm starting to question what money.
Yeah, they're bleeding money. We'll get into that. Tommy Dreamer, he was the man in charge of the creative team. He is no longer with the company. Dreamer was on Busted Open. He is a co-host on Busted Open. And he had a conversation with Carlos Silva, which he documented live on Busted Open. He revealed that he was no longer with the company after he and the promotion agreed to mutually part ways. Now, if you saw the clip that floated around on social media, Tommy Dreamer looked like he just broke up with his wife and separated and gotten a divorce. But
it looks like he came home one day and the house was cleaned out and all of his shit was all like thrown out on the lawn outside. And and then on top of that, he found his dog. His dog was dead in the bedroom. Like he was. This was mutual. Sure.
Yeah.
Thing.
It really didn't sound mutual, but he said it was mutual. He said, and this happened earlier in the week. Yesterday, I had a great conversation with Carlos Silva, and me and TNA are no longer in a relationship. So Dreamer said that we've mutually agreed to part ways. I've given so much of my life to that company. I don't have any ill will or malice. I want it to survive. I want it to be the best it can be. I love this business. It's hard because I'm not going to be able to see the people that I've helped. I had a lot of people help me follow my dreams, and I love that part about the business of what I did. Dreamer had filled a variety of roles in TNA. He worked as a producer. He was a member of the creative team. He was an on-screen authority figure alongside Silva. And he was actually a wrestler. And he continues, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, he still works independent dates a couple of days out of the month, doesn't he?
Almost every weekend.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't have to, but he does it. He loves the game. So his creative leadership has drawn criticism over the past year, and you see this more on social media. The more you kind of dwell into the TNA discussions, you know, the roster never admits it. You got guys like AJ Francis out there, Moose, who just don't give a shit about what the fans say, and the criticism of the fans towards the product, they don't want to hear any of it. But this is the one growing thing that people had a problem with, and more importantly, it came after the January debut on AMC, which Jason and I both reviewed. And just fucking regretted it as soon as we sat in this chair.
We didn't. Yeah, we wish we didn't.
I mean, holy shit, that was a terrible program. Some within the company reportedly saw a change coming, but had expected it to land after Slammiversary rather than now. So I'll stop there, Jason, before we get into where they're going now with the creative. Tommy Dreamer, he was under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of criticism from the fan base. I look at this as a good thing. Now, I respect Dreamer immensely. He's wearing a lot of different hats. He does a lot of different things. He's a wrestler. He's a radio host. He's TNA. Was he in a situation where his attention was being pulled in all these different ways and he couldn't give his undivided attention to TNA, and that's why the product suffered? Or is there something a little bit more deep-rooted there as to why TNA isn't where they need to be?
I mean, TNA isn't where they need to be for a lot of reasons, but a creative change is probably something that is needed right now. You know, I mean, look, they debuted on AMC in January. There was a lot of momentum. There was a lot of hope. There was a lot of optimism. And I feel like there's less interest and attention on the product now than there was 6 months ago. Like, you can't say, outside of them having greater television exposure, that the product is in a better place now than it was when they first debuted on AMC. And so if Dreamer is either the head of creative or one of the key creative figures in the company, when the axe falls, that is going to be the person who it's going to land on first. And this is a company that could use a shakeup in that way. He was the head of creative. I look at someone like Dreamer. I don't know. It's hard to tell sometimes like what ideas came from who. You know, when it comes to any wrestling television show, I don't look at Dreamer as some kind of great creative figurehead. I can't say he's the worst at it. I can't say he's the best at it. But what I can tell you is that whatever TNA is doing right now, it's not lighting the world on fire. So, yes, I think a creative change was needed. It was very weird to me, like, and I mentioned this. anytime that they sign somebody new, they always have this segment on their show where the person, and they did this with Fabian Eichner recently, and they did it with Ricky Sosa many months ago. Carlos Silva is out there. The new talent is out there. And Tommy Dreamer is out there. And every time I see Dreamer on this show, he looks so bored and just generally disinterested in what's going on.
I did see the Eichner clip.
I'm always fascinated. I'm looking at Dreamer. I'm just focused on him, and he looks like he would rather be anywhere but where he is in that moment.
Bro, why? There was literally no facial expressions whatsoever. He kept the same facial expression for 2 minutes.
It looked like he was dead inside, and I'm like, why do you keep putting him out there? Like it's depressing. It's depressing to watch him in those segments. So I just had to mention that. So yes, I think that if you're going to make changes within TNA, a creative change was probably needed. Should Delirious still be in the position he's in, or should you get rid of him too? I don't know, but. Dreamer getting the boot in a creative capacity, probably a good move for TNA. Now, are they going to level up by replacing him with Road Dogg? Because it sure looks like Road Dogg is probably going to get that job. It's not official yet, but PW Insider is saying he'll be there in Boston at the pay-per-view on Sunday. So it seems pretty likely that he'll either be the head of creative or he's going to end up probably assisting in a creative capacity. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I know that he was associated with SmackDown. SmackDown has been generally terrible all year, but he's been gone from SmackDown now for many months, and SmackDown hasn't exactly improved. So we'll have to just wait and see. But their problems go far beyond just creative. Creative is just one aspect of it. There's a much larger problem, which is their inability to retain certain talents. And, with this big TV deal they signed in January, you would think, between that and the partnership with WWE and the fact that, like in AEW, if you work in TNA, you can also still work indies. A lot of wrestlers still like to book, indie shots. Can't do that in WWE. You would think with all these reasons, like TNA would be a desirable landing spot. And yet there's a lot of people who have voluntarily said, peace out. I don't want to be here anymore. To me, that's the bigger issue. Because how are you supposed to build for the future and invest in the future if and they sign these people? I mentioned the Eichner thing, dude. Like, supposedly he signed through the summer. Summer's going to be over in 2.5 months.
With what fucking money are they going to pay him to keep him any longer?
Well, that's the issue. More than creative. They don't seem to have
Let me
the
shell out $100,000 to retain Eichner's services for 12 months. Where's it coming from?
All these guys are signing these short-term deals. And it's like, you got a Ricky Sosa on the roster. I'll use him as an example because he's somebody like a young guy that you can build around as part of your core. And for their sake, I hope they can. Bro, I don't know what his contract status is, but all I know is that if like a Ricky Sosa is not signed to a long-term deal, and frankly, even if he is, if WWE is like, hey, we want this guy, and you and I saw him on Friday. I was
gonna mention that legitimately. I mean, I don't catch up on TNA as much as the next guy does, but I saw him for the first time in person. 6'4", you mentioned. Yeah. Bro, WWE is gonna have fucking drool coming down to their mouth when they see this kid perform.
They're gonna be salivating over this guy. And so it almost doesn't even matter if they want him; they're gonna get him. How do you build a roster then when people are checking out so quickly after they check it? That to me is the biggest issue when it comes to TNA and trying to build some sort of nucleus when it comes to that roster, because they don't have a bad roster. Like, if you look at the roster of people that they have left, I think it's a nice mix of veteran talents and younger talents. So you got the Hardys, and you and I know, like, they're still a draw.
Yeah.
It's not hard to see why TNA still has them, and they rely on them so much. You got the Hardys, you got Ali, you got Nick Nemeth. Okay, you got a bunch of those guys. But then you have a Ricky Sosa. You have a Leon Slater. For how much longer, who knows? But you got a Leon Slater. You got a Casey Navarro. Like, I like their roster. The bigger issue is, how are you going to retain these people in the long term? If you can't pay them, then there's no incentive for them to stick around. That, to me, is the bigger issue.
You hear a lot of these problems with the creative side of things, and I'm not talking about, like, the money side. Everybody, you could not pull a bad thing out of anybody on that roster or anything about Scott D'Amore when he worked there. He was the head of creative. He was the visionary for TNA. He was their biggest cheerleader. He even at one point wanted to buy the company and run the company. He wanted to be Mr. TNA. They did not sell to him. You never heard anything about Scott D'Amore's inclusion in TNA. It was always like the most positive thing. Now all you hear is about Carlos Silva and how much of a detriment he is, and the money issues and the creative issues, and it's all these other things just lining up one after another. And then nobody wants to take accountability for it. Nobody wants to take the blame for it. Well, you didn't hear any of this stuff about Scott D'Amore when he ran the company, but now all we hear about is how the people are mismanaging the company now. Makes you think who's in the wrong. Like, I don't understand. So Tommy Dreamer is out. Jason mentioned Road Dogg. This was a big discussion. Fightful Select mentioned Road Dogg. He's been discussed internally about a potential replacement. We all kind of... And again, Jason alluded to it. He was a part of the SmackDown writing team. At one point, he was head co-writer with Ryan Ward on SmackDown back in the glory days of SmackDown in 2016. How much of his inclusion was really kind of taking SmackDown to that level, I don't know. But he was certainly on the team. We saw him on Unreal, and we saw how much of a geek he looked like. How many of his ideas came to the table and how many were used, I don't know. But he did cite that it was more of a business than a pro wrestling company, and it wasn't fun anymore. Do you think that this is a game-changing decision, Jason, to bring Road Dogg in? I don't know if he's going to lead. Delirious is there. Like, sure, he's someone with knowledge. Sure, he's worked under the Vince McMahon learning tree. He knows that old-school mentality. But I heard you talked about it, and I'm listening to you in the car on my way to do errands today, and you said one thing that really just popped out at me, and I'm like, why the fuck hasn't anybody else said this? And you said, verbatim, why does everybody all of a sudden want a fucking lead role in creative? Is there no one else to do these jobs? And I said, yes. Why hasn't anybody else asked this question? Why are we going to the Road Dogs? Why are we going to the same old fucking people? And you mentioned this is why the shows are so boring. Nobody has any fresh ideas. So them leaning on Road Dogg, bro, I don't know. I don't want to speak ill will about Road Dogg, and hopefully he lands a job, but I don't expect anything from that TNA fan base.
Yeah, I mean, until they're in that position, it's impossible to know. And also then how much, power he has. If you have a team, there's other people, there's other voices in there. You mentioned Delirious is still there. I think their vice president of TV production is for now anyway. He and Delirious are the top two people when it comes to creative. You just don't know. We've also heard AJ Styles said this many years ago when Road Dogg was, I think, the lead writer on SmackDown. And I think he got burned out and he quit, if I remember. But AJ came out and defended him and said, if only you guys knew, like, it was Vince McMahon. It was his ideas. And he was, stifling Road Dogg's ideas and preventing them from reaching TV. And it's like, okay, well, if he goes to TNA and they give him the keys to the castle, then I guess we'll find out. If we get Road Dogg unfiltered, then we'll get a better sense of what kind of creative mind he really has, right? If he gets the job, we'll find out. It won't take very long. All their television is taped between, now and Sunday. And so coming out of Slammiversary, it's kind of the dawning of a new era. And we'll see if Road Dogg, A, gets the job, and B, if he does, what he does, right? With the pieces that are presented to him. But the point that I was making is, like, it's always the same 5 or 6 names that you hear about when it comes to creative in wrestling. And so why is that? Why are we always recycling the same names over and over again?
Who are those names? Road Dogg, right?
And some of them are good. I mean, like Scott D'Amore,
yeah.
Road Dogg, Paul Levesque, obviously, Tony Khan.
Michael Hayes, Bruce Pritchard.
I think we want to throw Paul Heyman in there. Dreamer. Basically it, right? But it's the same, like, half a dozen or so, give or take, people. And I think that there's a reason why so many of these shows just have a sameness to them. It's like, I understand it's not an easy job. I get that. And it's year round. There's no break. You could lay out the best plans in the world. People get hurt, visa issues, whatever it may be. But you cannot tell me that it's such a tough job that there are no other people that might have an interest anywhere in the world, anywhere in the realm of entertainment that, could not potentially be brought in for a position like that who maybe could offer some fresh ideas that the same 6 or 7 people can't. You know what I mean? Like at some point, you got to get some new voices in the room. And the people that we're talking about are going to age out. They ain't going to be around anymore in 10 or 15 years. What are they going to do then? Is Mark Shapiro and TKO going to be running creative for WWE? Like, that's a horrifying thought. Like, what are we looking at?
According to some geeks, he's already running creative, so we don't know.
Well, sometimes, yeah, sure. Whatever they feel like dipping their hands in the pie. But like, I don't know what that looks like in the future if you don't now, like today, start to bring in some new voices, some new faces, and maybe they have an aptitude for it. It's a little scary to think about, potentially bringing non-wrestling people in who don't really get wrestling because it could be a fucking disaster. But I just find it hard to believe that there aren't other people out there, maybe even within the wrestling business. We just don't know who they are yet. Maybe they're on a lower level who would not have something fresh and fun to offer instead of the same fucking people over and over again. We're talking about Tommy Dreamer, and it's like, I don't know. What did Tommy Dreamer, just as an example, like what was so great about the booking philosophy of Tommy Dreamer that TNA had to, lean on him as their head of creative for so long? Well, how did he end up in that position in the first place?
I don't know. After D'Amore left, all I know is that his name was just thrown into the mix. Like, I don't know how he got that spot or why they chose him for that spot. I was going to ask you, what has TNA done? Because I don't watch the show. I don't watch the product. I get enough fucking boredom from what we're watching on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. What does TNA do? And they're not bound by shareholders and Wall Street and a fucking major company. I mean, I think the people that own TNA, they let them do whatever they need to do to create the best television possible. What is stopping TNA from truly being their own entity? Like, I don't get any sense that TNA, when I hear about what TNA is doing, or I tune in for a pay-per-view, which I'll tune into Slammiversary this coming weekend just to see Amazing Red. What are they doing that is differentiating themselves from an AEW or a WWE? You would think that they're creating this groundbreaking television on a new TV network to get new fans and new interest in the product. What are they doing?
Yeah, well, they're not doing anything. I mean, that's the problem. They're kind of stuck in the middle where, WWE, they have their form of sports entertainment, and they're not always very good at it, but it's kind of what they do. AEW is known for giving you a lot of wrestling. You get a lot of great wrestling matches in AEW. They overload you with wrestling. And then TNA is kind of in the middle where it's like, if they try to lean too heavily into the sports entertainment stuff, then they're branded WWE Light, right? Because they're not going to be able to do it as well as they do. But at the same time, like, you can have like really good wrestling matches, but you're not going to get like the kind of great wrestling that you could get with AEW. They have a much bigger roster and there's just so much of it. So it's tough, kind of the position they're in. How do you stand out? What is it that they have no brand identity. That's the problem. What is it that they can do to really differentiate themselves from everybody else, the other big players that maybe they aren't doing or they aren't doing well? And TNA could be like, okay, we can kind of fill that void. Like in terms of like fan service, like WWE's not doing this. AEW maybe isn't doing that. We can do that. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. That's something that they should have tried to figure out, in advance of or at the beginning of this AMC deal. And they just haven't been able to do that. If they were, then they probably would be able to bring in more people. I don't get the sense they've grown their audience since going to AMC. I'm not just talking in terms of the rate. I mean, the ratings go up, the ratings go down. Does it feel like they've grown their fan base? Have they grown their audience in the last 6 months?
No. I mean, what were they getting on Anthem? What, 80 to 90,000 per week?
Oh, on Access TV.
Oh, Access TV?
Publicly, they weren't even releasing numbers. But, I mean, the belief is maybe it was in that 90,000, 100,000 range.
If that, on a good week for 100,000. Yeah.
And so, and on AMC, like, at one point, they were, despite that awful debut show, I mean, the numbers did creep up from there. And maybe they got into like the 240 range. And I think lately, I don't know if it was the last show.
It's like 180 or 190 now.
Yeah, they dropped. So it's back into like the 180, 190 range. So there's no sense, and even in terms of like ticket sales and stuff, there's no sense that they've really grown their audience. It's like they're relying on the partnership with WWE to bring in names from NXT maybe to kind of juice up ticket sales for some of these shows. But, at some point, you got to do something to really stand out on your own. You know, you can't just rely on bringing talent in from NXT. So that's the challenge for whether it's Road Dogg or whoever ends up in a creative position. They just have to figure out, who do you want to build this show around? Who are the key stars outside of, let's say, the Hardys? Like, who are those key people that you want to build around? And then what does that show look like week to week? How do you make the show fun? You got to find the right balance between skits and wrestling and whatever other hijinks. Maybe it's this added emphasis on the X Division. The X Division years ago was their calling card. Like, that was truly innovative stuff. And the problem is now, I mean, that was 20 years ago, right? Now It's like the kind of wrestling you saw in the X Division, you could see any given week on Dynamite. So, I mean, I still think they should lean into the X Division stuff, but they just gotta figure it out. Like, I don't get the sense there's a whole lot going on in the Knockouts division.
No.
And there's another example. Years ago, the Knockouts division was head and shoulders above anything WWE was doing. Like, TNA was actually starting to take women's wrestling seriously long before WWE was. So for a period of time, like, they had something that was unique to them that the big guys weren't doing. But now so many years have gone by, do they have anything like that to really make themselves stand out?
No, I think
not really.
I mean, as a non-viewer of TNA, the one thing that I always knew was that they had that Knockouts division that was basically their backbone. Deonna Purrazzo, Ty Valkyrie, Tessa Blanchard, and whoever else was there. That Mickey James was there.
And
you know,
years earlier, Gail.
Who's there now? Yeah, who's there now? Cora Jade. Elena Black is there, right? She's there. Outside
I mean, she probably signed a short-term deal.
That's all I know.
I mean, I'm sorry, Lee. I always say it wrong.
Xia Li. Let's just
Now you got me all
it's a tongue twister. I know.
But she's the champion right now, and she's fine. But like, no, there's nothing at the moment in that division that really is making it stand out above, what you would see in AEW or WWE. So no, and they've lost some names as well. But yeah, I mean, to me, so that's the issue. It comes down to, you got to be able to pay people so they stop fleeing, number one, because they've re-signed people. Like they re-signed Trey Miguel this week, Ali, Tasha Steelz. In January, they had re-signed Mustafa Ali, who I think is somebody, I mean, they could have as their world champion at some point. But you got to stop these other people from leaving, and you've got to figure out a way to just, keep them. You got to fucking pay them. And then creatively just figure out, who do you want running the show, and what does that show look like? What is their vision of what TNA could be?
Well, I don't know what they are going to do going into Slammiversary. They just got about 2,000 tickets out the door. Last year, they held a show in New York on Long Island at the UBS Arena, and they did in the vicinity of 65 to 7,000 people in that venue. That was obviously with a big AJ Styles appearance and some WWE appearances on the show. Yeah, Javon Evans was on the show.
JC Jane, right? JC Jane, I believe, was there. Yeah, I mean, it's not good. I mean, they had barely 2,000 tickets in a building, I think, that fits 6,000.
Yeah.
It's not good.
And then the shows following Slammiversary, they don't have a lot of tickets out because they're doing a taping in Albany, and they got barely 400 tickets out the door for those two separate TV tapings at the beginning of July. So I don't know what they're doing, but Dreamer's replaced, and Road Dogg right now is his rumored replacement on the TNA writing team. Tommy Dreamer, being that he left, obviously with that comes some baggage because everybody wanted to come out of the woodwork and cancel Tommy Dreamer for the week. It all started when Dan Perch, an independent wrestling referee, once told or was told by Dreamer that he tried to blackball him from the industry. Now, Dreamer pulled him aside, apparently, in a quote that he put on Twitter at a TNA show, telling him that he would do everything he can to make sure that he doesn't earn a job in the wrestling business. Perch said, "All I did was try to learn and grow from experiences," though his words were very discouraging for a young student to hear. Now, there were other people that came out in defense of Dan Perch. I know Brett Lauderdale from GCW came out and said that he's one of the most approachable, nice guys that you could ever meet. There was another one from Danny Jordan, who said that Dreamer insisted on doing a crotch grab spot during a match they had together. He didn't care to ask. I did not want to do this. Said how uncomfortable I was, but I'm just a woman, right? And then Carly Bravo from AEW also said that Dreamer once told him that he was very talented, but he couldn't hire him because, and I quote, he didn't know if he could market a cocky black guy to the world. That'll
never work. Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, you go back in the annals of time and find many guys like that. But I mean, listen, Tommy Dreamer's gone, and hopefully they get better. So those were some of the situations that came out of the TNA stuff. Sami Callihan. This is a sad one because Jason and I both love Sami Callihan. We respect him immensely. Sami Callihan got a phone call, and he was interviewed on Busted Open Radio and detailed this phone call. And he thought that when he got this phone call, it was about him maybe joining the creative team. So I get on a Zoom call, and they start talking, he says. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, maybe this is still, maybe I'm getting added to the creative team. And then it came to, we're sorry, we're going to have to part ways. And I kind of went off. I'm not one of those people that usually goes off like this. I tried not to be very profanity-laced. And I don't think it was a thing of screaming or yelling, but I stated my case. The people on the call were like, oh, well, this is this. I was like, well, now you're going to listen to me. Like, I've given my life for this company. There's been multiple times where I could have left that company. I broke my leg for that company. I was world champion for that company. I love TNA. I didn't particularly want to go work for another company at the time. TNA was my end-all, be-all, and at the end of the day, anyone can say that I knew that company. I feel like almost better than anybody, from the wrestling to the production side to everyone there, and I had good relationships with everyone. Now, that's sad to hear, Jason, because Sami Callihan, I mean, he at one point was the guy. They leaned on him a lot. He was, at one point, the face of that company. You think TNA, you think Sami Callihan. And he runs Wrestling Revolver, and he's obviously going to go back and do that full-time. He's a very talented guy. He does all the production over there. He does the creative. He does all the vignettes. He does the video editing. He does a lot. He's a man that wears many hats over there. The fact that he was not even considered for the creative is fucking ridiculous to me. I don't know what you thought when you initially heard this story, but the fact that they didn't even offer him a spot or even think that he would fit into that role well is just, I guess, very TNA.
Yeah, and he claimed that he even got text messages from talent who worked there who said they wanted him in that role or wished he had gotten that role. I just, the only thing I could think is maybe they just wanted to really just clean house and start fresh, but then Delirious is still there. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I don't know if they had some sort of axe to grind with him. I'm not sure. Because that certainly would have been a consideration. Like, okay, we have this other person who we can lean on as a resource creatively. Maybe we'll give him a chance in that role and see how he does, but they just let him go too. So I don't know if there was another reason for that they didn't share with him. But clearly he was very upset. He talked about the Zoom call that he was on and kind of going off on them on the Zoom call. So yeah, I don't know what the idea was behind that, because he did do a lot behind the scenes. He was a world champion there as well. Retired from the ring in August of last year. So I don't know. I don't know what it was, other than could have been a financial issue. I don't know what he was making. But if he was making enough money that they were like, hey, we want to, kind of trim the budget a little bit. Maybe people like Sami Callihan were just sort of low-hanging fruit where it's like, we want to save some money, we'll just get rid of him. I can't imagine, though, like if they bring Road Dogg in, for example, that he's going to come cheap. So no. I don't know if that's the answer either. I don't have a good answer for you. I don't know, but it's unfortunate. I think he probably would have done well in the role until someone's actually in that spot. You don't know for sure. But here's the sadder thing. They put a statement out. They put a press release out. And in the press release, they specifically named Tessa Blanchard, who we talked about last week. She made the choice to leave. And they mentioned Tommy Dreamer. And they said, and others. So he wasn't even worthy of a name drop in the press release. They lumped him into the and others category.
Hopefully,
I don't know. There may have been some other reasoning for it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, hopefully he has a lot of patience. I mean, to give your life to that type of place and break your body the way that he did, and then you don't even get a name mention when they release you in a fucking anthem statement. That's ridiculous. So sad. Again, Wrestling Revolve was probably better off than TNA is at this point. I don't know.
Maybe he made enemies with the wrong people. I don't know. I don't know. You know how wrestling politics are. You hear stories about that kind of stuff. Who the hell knows?
Yeah. Well, Matt Hardy, he actually chimed in on his podcast, Extreme Life with Matt Hardy, about some of the issues here. He mentioned the...
Hold on, Corey. Corey says, maybe they'll bring Road Dogg in just to book through the summer, too. Yeah, it'll be a short-term booking contract, 90 days.
I'll give you a test run, man. Let's see if you can get us back to where we need to be. It's fucking ridiculous. Hardy said in regards to TNA struggling financially, Hardy said that it's opposite. We're actually going in the opposite direction. They're actually saving money, referencing some of the online claims about the company's finances. The reason a lot of people want to leave is because they're being offered per night deals, and it is what it is, which we just talked about. I mean, they can't pay people, and people are on short-term contracts like we just talked about, per night deals. So, yes. But it also isn't a long-term vision to build TNA. What do you want to be? A fly-by-night company, or you want to invest in your future? You can't be both.
Well, look, I mean, we had the situation with Steph DeLander where she had a couple of neck surgeries, and I believe she paid for that out of her own pocket. And she was the one who talked about how TNA doesn't even have like their own dedicated medical team, and she went through a lot of shit trying to get answers on certain things, and obviously in the end she also couldn't get cleared, which is why she left. But she had to dip into her own pocket, and so like. You don't know how stuff like that also may factor into things, where it's like, if you're on the hook for stuff like that, if you get hurt, that's also going to influence whether or not you want to work for a place like that. Because that's the sort of thing you would hope that you wouldn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
So who knows how that might also factor into people's decision to leave. It could be a combination of that and money. And all I'm saying is, if these people were being paid a wage that they were satisfied met what they feel like is their value, it would show that the company values them, they're making a good living, then they really wouldn't have any reason to leave in most cases, right? Every now and then you might have somebody who's upset over creative or something. But again, there's been so many people that have requested their release. Not everybody that we've been talking about was like Tommy Dreamer, Sami Callihan, right? This wasn't their decision. But for every one of those, there's, a Tessa Blanchard who was forced to make a decision and she said, I'm out. Or a Danny Luna or a Mila Grace or the Rascals or whoever. And there's a reason for that. That's what I'm saying. There's a reason for that. If they were doing good business and making good money, most of those people would still be there.
Well, it makes you think about this AMC deal. Is the $10 million even the factual figure that they're making? Because you would think if they're making $10 million a year or whatever the case may be, I'm assuming that they pay for their own production costs, which is why they tape a bunch of shows like back in the day. NXT did it. The old WWE model in the 90s did it. You would think that if they're making that type of money, they would invest in the talent that they want to be the centerpiece in the future of the company, but they're not. So how much money are they really making from this deal? Nobody knows.
Yeah, again, it was just a rumor at the time that it was it was worth $30 million, broken down to $10 million a year for 3 years. Huh. And that was not anything that was ever confirmed. But that was the belief, that was the rumor at the time. And it's one of those things where companies make cuts. Like WWE makes cuts, and they make so much money, it's ridiculous. So in and of itself, the fact that TNA made cuts doesn't mean that, they have no money coming in. But I am starting to question whether or not, if they are making money on this AMC deal, if it's anywhere close to what was rumored at the time. Because if that was rumored and people are assuming that this is what they're making, they don't really have an incentive to come out publicly and deny it. It's like, okay, well, if that's what people think we're making, great. Let them think that. Doesn't mean they're making $10 million a year off this deal.
No.
It doesn't feel that way to me. That's why, so you mentioned at the beginning, Len Asper is the head of Anthem. And so the report, which comes from the same person, by the way, who I think put the initial report out on his Twitter, months ago about this being a $30 million deal. This guy, Blake Avignon.
Yeah.
He's a sports business reporter. He's the one who started this whole thing about, the sale, and Anthem is looking at a floor, like a base sale price of no less than $40 to $50 million for TNA. Scott D'Amore supposedly offered somewhere in the range of 10. They didn't even seriously consider it. $40 to $50 million. I would love to know how they come to that figure, because there is no way that TNA is worth $40 to $50 million.
It says here, Scott D'Amore, like you said, $10 million, which includes TNA's debts, which is valued between $7 million and $12 million.
So any buyer would have to absorb their toxic debt. Keep that in mind.
Which makes me think the way that I read that is, and maybe you can chime in if I'm wrong here, they've accumulated so much more debt since 2024 that Scott D'Amore's offer of $10 million is not even fucking where they would even think about selling the company, which is why it's $50 million now.
Yeah, I'm just like, again, $40 to $50 million, and you're right. I mean, the debt aspect may also have a lot to do with that, but the idea of this company being worth anywhere close to that is just so laughably absurd to me. Like, I mean, think about this. Like, the rumored sale price when Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor, which was 4 years ago now, maybe, was said to be $4 million. Now, Ring of Honor at that point it was on life support, and they didn't have a TV deal. $4 million. That's about what Vince McMahon spent to buy WCW. It was like $4.2 million.
Oh.
And granted, that was 25 years ago, but still. And the same thing with them. They lost their TV slots, and that's where the value was coming from. So now here's TNA. How do you go from, like, these companies sold for $4 million, but TNA is worth $50 million? Why? What is it that makes them worth $50 million? Where is the value? Like, if you're buying TNA, maybe if there's like an AMC slot that comes with it, that might bring some value, but not $50 million worth. So I'm just curious where the value comes from. Is it like IP, like Bound for Glory and Slammiversary? Is it like, what is it exactly that leads one to believe?
This you'll get a laugh out of this. Fightful Select is also reporting that at least one TNA source claimed to them that the company is now profitable under Anthem. Where are they making their money? Where are they making any profit with TNA?
Well, they keep making cuts. They may well end up profitable if they just keep cutting. Sure, they may get there yet. It's just laughable to me. And look, if there's a sucker out there who's dumb enough to overspend for it, then hey, good on them. But this idea that TNA, there's a sale that's imminent, not at that price. It's not. WWE doesn't have any incentive to buy them right now and spend that kind of money. Why would they? They got the perfect situation right now, right? They're partnered with them. We know they're pulling the strings. We saw what happened over WrestleMania weekend with that whole fiasco. I mean, again, Carlos Silva could talk about, well, they ran against us on a Thursday. Like, bullshit. We know WWE had something to do with that. So they pull the strings. If they want a certain talent, they'll get a certain talent. We know that. They don't need to buy them. Like, who else would buy them?
No, why would they want to buy them? Like, they don't need another wrestling company to run. They just bought AAA.
No, if they bought them, they would strip it for parts. I mean, there's no need for them to even keep it as a separate entity.
They don't want that. They want the tape library, and then TNA could fucking kill itself. That's what they're waiting for.
Yeah, well, they'll take the tape library and they'll take the YouTube channel that already exists, and they'll basically turn that into the TNA vault, and they'll make fucking ad money from Google AdSense, and there you go. That's it.
Oh my God.
They don't need it. So, anybody thinking that there's a sale imminent or anything like that was like a big rumor going around this week. No. I mean, maybe they're making moves now to kind of tidy up the books in the event that down the road they're looking at that, but there is no imminent TNA sale.
You think Tony Khan would swoop in and pay $50 million for TNA?
No.
No, that would be ridiculous.
I think he'd be a dumbass if he did. Why would he?
I don't know.
Why would he? There's no reason to. What is he getting for it? That's my question. What are you getting for that money? Because you're not gonna get all the talent like when WWF bought WCW, they did get some of the talent contracts, but not the big ones.
No,
like all the real names, they were on these guaranteed deals. They sat at home, they collected their money, except Booker T and DDP. They took a pay cut to go work for WWE. But like, let's assume you're not going to get very many, if any, talent contracts that come with that. You're going to get what? You're going to get the IP. You're going to get the tape library. What else do you get? Tony Khan buys TNA. What does he get? How do you justify that?
I don't know. He gets that fucking silly blue owl that comes with the Anthem logo. I don't know.
That's Anthem though. That's not TNA.
I don't know.
You don't get the owl. The owl doesn't belong to TNA.
Fuck the owl.
Fuck the owl. Fuck that owl.
Yeah, I don't know. TNA, though, to save on their finances here, the WWE relationship is still there, but the NXT presence has, from what I've read and from what I've seen, lessened on TNA. Now, Jason, apparently TNA and OVW are reportedly working on a developmental agreement. Now, TNA and OVW worked together. OVW served as TNA's official developmental territory from 2011 to 13 before a financial dispute ended the relationship, and the sides reestablished a developmental agreement in 2019. Mike Johnson's reporting that now TNA and OVW are working towards a new agreement that would see OVW, based in Louisville, in essence, become a developmental system for TNA. Now, I think anybody watching what we do and watch the landscape of pro wrestling has realized very quickly, as did Carlos Silva, that TNA started to become a developmental territory for NXT and WWE. He realized a little bit too late in the game what people initially realized on day one, is that he was being, for a lack of a better term, cucked out here by WWE. So now he's hopefully trying to swing the momentum back to TNA instead of going out and buying and spending money on a big free agent or investing in the future that you have currently there right now and guys like Ricky Sosa and so on and so forth. He's looking to maybe OVW to replenish what currently is being lost now. Is that a good move in your eyes for TNA?
They're going to have some spots to fill on their television show with all the people who are leaving. So is it going to be a good move? I guess it depends on what does this look like? Like, are they truly going to use it as like a farm system? You know, like a feeder system? I mean, I can't imagine that it's going to be a situation similar to what we have with NXT and TNA. Like, nobody knows who anybody is in OVW. So if it's just a developmental thing and they can send new talent there, then I mean, I don't see that being a bad thing. I don't see how it costs TNA anything. I also don't see it being all that big of a difference maker.
No.
I mean, maybe for OVW it is, but for TNA, it's like, okay, if they think they can get some, or first dibs, let's say, on some younger, newer talents, and they can bring those people into TNA, and I'm not saying they're going to be like the next Ricky Sosa or Leon Slater, but if they can get some new, younger names to bring in and get value out of them, then great. I don't think there's any harm in that, but I also don't see this being all that big of a deal.
No, I don't see this being a big deal either. Slammiversary is this weekend, and Leon Slater could be his last TNA show. Mike Santana could be his last TNA show as the world champion. Those are two big spots to fill there. I don't know what they have planned.
I think Nick Nemeth is going to win the championship on Sunday.
I think so too. Speaking of Nemeth, he actually said things were a little weird backstage in TNA. He was on Busted Open. He was very careful to not throw TNA management under the bus, but also praise Tommy Dreamer in the same breath. I don't know what the situation is. I think morale building together to get that TV deal couldn't be any higher. And then as we move on, it's got to drop down a little bit. And then it's like, oh man, some people are leaving. What are we going to do? I don't know exactly what's going on. I'm going to get the scoop on what's happening now in 2 weeks at Slammiversary. But most importantly, I really think the locker room is such a huge aspect, which we've heard as fans all through so many years, that the locker room is really tight. It's what got me to sign to TNA. And I thought we were really in a good place. And I think the last couple of months, it's been a little weird backstage. It's been different. And I don't know exactly why, but I can't put my finger on it. I mean, it's weird because there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of change. I mean, with change comes a lot of weird feelings. So I think that's what he means. He doesn't mean anything derogatory. He's not putting anybody on Blame Street.
No, but it was telling, though. Even he said, like, the last couple of months, it's just been a weird vibe behind the scenes. Like the way it felt a few months ago, something's changed, and he can't quite put his finger on what that is.
Yeah, I hope for the best there with TNA. I'll be keeping close eyes to the ground on what happened on Slammiversary Sunday. I know Amazing Red's going to be on the show. I'm probably going to tune in just to see him and what he's got going on there. He's going to be in that X Division match.
Yeah. First TNA match for him in 15 years.
Yeah.
And not that most people watching this probably need a primer, but if you want to go back and look at some great Amazing Red matches, he was in one of these matches at Bound for Glory, back in 2009. I think he was actually defending the title in that match. That was a great one. And then he's had a lot of great matches in Hog over the last decade plus. He had one with AJ Styles back in 2014. Yeah, we've talked about the one with Mike Santana 2 years ago, Puerto Rican Weekend. That was tremendous.
It's on YouTube. Go check it out. That's all you need to know.
And even last month, in LA and then New York, wrestling Speedball and Kevin Knight, Bandito in April in Las Vegas. So if you're looking for some Amazing Red, and a lot of those matches are on the HOG channel on YouTube.
Yeah, there's one with Malachi Black up there too. Will Ospreay. I mean, a ton of them.
So before Sunday, if you want to go kind of whet your appetite, those are the matches I would go check out.
This is the last TNA note before we get into some rapid fire Forbidden Door predictions, and then we'll round out with the super chats. Tessa Blanchard. I know we talked about Tessa last week, and she was among the names that were let go. She asked for her release, and it was granted. There was more here from Fightful Select. Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp reported that Tessa had secured her TNA release. And speaking with sources, there was a conflict between who wanted her to make, or I guess TNA, wanted her to make a choice to prioritize either TNA or CMLL. Now, many were actually surprised that she was able to continue doing both for reasons I'll get into. But Tessa stated, and I quote, and this was translated from Spanish to English here. I want to sort things out and set the record straight. She said, here I have a life. I'm very happy. The U.S. company TNA asked me, you need to decide whether you're a CMLL wrestler or a TNA wrestler. I took my time to think it over with my dad, whom I trust very much. My life is here. I'm not just another foreigner. I'm the most Mexican gringa, she says. So, yeah. CMLL books Tessa more. They paid Tessa more. It was claimed that within TNA, they were going to rework her deal to offer her more money due to that. Now, I'm going to stop there, Jason, because I had to go to Cage Match. I had to see what the fuck these people were talking about. Do you realize that when I read that line, I'm like, I know that there's been just not enough Tessa on TNA television after they kind of sneakily brought her in the dark of night to fucking make sure she was back with the company. Bro, do you realize that CMLL has booked Tessa Blanchard 28 times since March? TNA has booked Tessa Blanchard 9 times in all of 2026. Yet the report says that they wanted to rework her deal and offer her more money. If they wanted to retain her services and offer her more money, then that would have happened well before the 9 times in 2026. How did we even get to this point where TNA is this fucking laughable in regards to Tessa Blanchard?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if they had an interest in using her, there was nothing stopping them from using her on TV. But it's, again, very telling that any of the interpromotional stuff with NXT, she was never involved in any of that.
No.
So when that started, I would be curious to go back and see when that really started, if that coincided with her sort of disappearing from TNA. I feel like it did. I know they shot some sort of angle like a long time ago where, God, who did she beat up? Not Mackenzie Mitchell.
No, she beat up the interviewer, right?
Yeah, but I forgot her name. I forgot who it was. But I think she got suspended, and then she was off TV for a while. So yeah, I had gone back and looked also, and she was not used very often at all last year, even this year, right? I mean, how many times has she been in TNA this year? Not very often. So it's a little weird that they were willing to put more money towards her. That would indicate a bigger push, but you would think if they wanted to push her in a serious way, what was stopping them from doing that before? So I question that.
Gia Miller was her name.
Right, Gia Miller. Yeah, she beat up Gia Miller. Yeah, and again, as far as her decision to leave, for her, it was a no-brainer. You're getting booked more. You're getting paid more. I think she lives in Mexico City, or I don't know where she may be now, but she lives down there.
With her fiance.
She lives down there. If you're going to put a gun to her head and make her make a decision, gee, I wonder what decision she's going to make. Do I stay with the company that's paying me less and rarely booking me? Or do I go to this other place, which is coming off its hottest business year in fucking years? Gee, I wonder. So she made the choice that I think most people figured she would make.
Well, Tessa was under a 3-year deal. They ended this relationship about halfway through the contract. Jason, do you think, and this is where my line of thinking goes, because, I mean, pro wrestling is just a petty business and there's a lot of political movement. Do you feel that TNA, knowing that CMLL is in a partnership with AEW and Tony Khan, do you feel like that is what made them pressure Tessa Blanchard to either choose TNA or CMLL, or am I just out of line thinking that?
Oh, I think it came from probably the relationship with WWE.
Okay.
WWE partially owns AAA. AAA and CMLL, they don't play well together. They are mortal, bitter enemies. And you just have to assume that there was something, whether it was Carlos Silva and TNA being proactive because they didn't want it to get to a point where it ruffled feathers, or something was said to them. It's kind of like the WrestleMania weekend situation all over again. I don't know which one it is, but I think it had to do with the fact that, hey, we got a relationship with WWE, and so we can't allow this. CMLL has a working agreement with AEW, and WWE owns AAA. We work with WWE. We have their talent on our show sometimes. Whoever made the call, I think it has to do with politics at the end of the day.
And this partnership with WWE has not worked out well in any aspect for TNA.
It comes with pros and it comes with cons.
Short-term pros and long-term cons for TNA.
You got to weigh the benefits and you got to weigh the disadvantages.
Yeah, that's the deal with TNA. A busy week. A lot of this has nothing to do with the on-air product outside of who's going to be running the creative. I wish there was more excitement about the on-air product than the backstage, but that's the way the cookie crumbled here. As far as Tessa, she's not a free agent, and she will remain with CMLL. So that's the deal there. So let's get into some AEW talk. They also have a pay-per-view this weekend. On top of WWE Night of Champions, we got the Great American Bash, we got Slammiversary, we got AEW Forbidden Door. I mean, if you love pro wrestling, this is the weekend for you. Go and fucking celebrate to your heart's content.
Got the Solid Monster sounds off.
Yeah, you got the sound off, and I don't know what I'm doing this week. I don't even know what I'm covering, to be quite honest with you, because Forbidden Door to me is more like Forbidden Bore. That's just the way I feel. I do not like this current season. We'll start with some of the things on Dynamite, Jason. What did you make of the Owen? I'll start here. Now, Maya World is in a situation where they are really kind of going with her. They're giving her the platform to perform after the tragic death of her brother. Maya World beat Sky Blue, and then she went on to Collision. And I couldn't believe what I read because I don't watch Collision. Maya World had advanced to the finals to the women's Owen at Forbidden Door by beating Athena. Now, on one hand, I love when a company wants to create new stars. I love a company that wants to get behind young talent that we haven't seen before. The thing is, it's all in the follow-up, and I don't genuinely feel that AEW is going to do much with Maya World in this particular instance if she loses or if she wins going into the All-In show in Wembley. What did you make of her beating Athena? Because I know me and you were on the same page. Athena, Mercedes, Ospreay, and Swerve would have been a tremendous 1-2 combo for a largely forgettable show. But Tony opted to go with Maya World over Athena, and now we have Maya World and Mercedes at Forbidden Door. I don't like it. The one win was fine over Sky Blue, but I think now taking Athena out of the tournament, I think that's not a good unpredictable to me. I think that's a bad creative move.
Yeah, I mean, the match that I was hoping for was Mercedes and Athena, which we saw once last year. So it's been long enough. It's been over a year since we've seen it. And just in terms of the biggest possible matches that you could do in the finals on this pay-per-view, there was really none bigger than Mercedes and Athena. So I hate that it robbed us of that. On the other hand, there's, he has this feel-good story now, when it comes to this woman, not just because of this terrible tragedy, where she lost her brother, but it's just, first of all, can we just take a step back here and realize the two women who are in the finals of this tournament were not even in the tournament when it started. Mercedes was not in this tournament.
No.
Maya World was not in this tournament.
No.
And now they're in the finals, which is pretty crazy. But then also, if you go back, and I talked about this on Crown, if you think about Maya and how she even kind of came into the picture here, it goes back to last November. And you remember the whole controversy with Nixon Newell and Miranda Alizé, and they walked out on an episode of Dynamite. They were going to lose a match. They weren't being given enough time, whatever their excuse was. And Maya World was there, and Hyon was there, and they stepped up and put me in, coach. So they basically took their spot, and it was a few weeks later, and Tony Khan signed them to contracts. So this woman was being used as the occasional extra, as an enhancement talent who wasn't even under contract less than a year ago. And now here we are, and she's in the finals of this tournament at Forbidden Door. So for her, you can create this great feel-good story out of it if you tell that story. I look at this, and I would think that most people are probably looking at this saying, okay, well, this is where the story ends, right? And Mercedes is going to win, and she's going to go to All In. I don't see it that way. I actually think it's going the exact opposite way. And I think that Tony is going to give Maya the win on this pay-per-view. And part of it is Mercedes is walking around with the Owen Hart belt. She walks around with it. It's the one belt that she has left that she hasn't lost, right? Because that belt doesn't get defended week to week. She's effectively defending it now because in order to retain it, she'll have to win the tournament. But if she loses the tournament, she loses the belt. And I'm looking at this going, she lost all 12 other belts that she had. She still has this one. And I think that she's got to lose that belt. Now, I was thinking that Athena would win, right? So Mercedes would lose the belt that way, but that went out the window. I still feel the same way, though, where she's got that one belt left. And how are you going to have her lose all these other belts, but still hold on to the Owen Hart belt? Doesn't she have to lose that belt, too? That serves the story more if she's got the one belt left and she loses. And again, it's this big shocking thing, right? You got the story of Maya World. Oh my God, she wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament and now she won. And she's going to go on to All In and she's going to get this championship match. And now she has the credibility of being the woman who beat, it's like when Jericho beat fucking Rocket Austin in the same night. He hasn't shut up about it for 25 years. She'll be the woman who in this tournament beat Athena and Mercedes Moné. And if Tony Khan can actually create a new star out of it, good for him. He'll be a genius, right? Is he going to? That's a different story. And so if he doesn't, then people will shit on him. I mean, they're going to shit on him for it anyway, because again, we agree. The other match is the match that we wanted to see. But at least if you look at it, he could potentially create a new star. I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit, but I feel like the match that we are going to get in Wembley is going to be a rematch of the match we're getting on Sunday. Only that time it'll be for the World Championship.
You're a ballsy guy, I'll tell you. That's crazy.
I got big balls. What can I say?
I guess so. But the way that I look at it is this show was not, now granted there's 2 months to go. They just eclipsed 25,000 tickets. This is trending well below the last time where they were there, and then especially the first time. To me, the way that I look at it, this is just me personally, the way I would do things. If you are severely lacking in the ticket sales department, you need to get matches out there relatively quick, which we'll know two of, kind of unconfirmed after Sunday's show. You are booking the biggest matches that you possibly have at your disposal to sell that place out as much as you can. Maya World ain't selling a single ticket to that show, no matter who she's in the ring with. So the way that I book things is you go with he already mentioned today that Mercedes is one of his pillars. I don't know why he would actually come out there and say that publicly and then have her lose the Owen final. I'm booking Mercedes to win this match, and I'm booking Mercedes versus Tekla at All In, which should be a tremendous match. I don't know.
I don't see it going that way. I
liked your original idea of Athena winning and then Mercedes winning the title, and then we get a rematch at Wembley between them.
Well, yeah, that's what I would have done, but that's out the fucking window now.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking he's going to go all the way with Maya. Mercedes is going to lose that last belt. If anyone is going to be the draw here in this match and sell tickets, it would be Mercedes. And so Maya being in there, it almost doesn't even matter, I guess. But like, he may be looking at it as, well, she's got a great story. And if we can get people invested in this great underdog story, maybe that'll resonate with people. He's got to do a really good job of selling that, though. And there's got to be promos. There's got to be video packages. Like, you got to go all the way with it. But I'm just looking at this and I'm like, on this same show, there's an AEW world title match between Tekla and Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid is very good. And she's coming in. She's challenging for the championship. At every turn here in the build to this match, Tekla has just shit on Stardom. She's literally spat on the company logo. She probably would if like they would show it on TBS. I think she would squat and take a shit like on the Stardom logo to try to put this thing over. She just showed up in Japan the other day. She beat up the president again over there, tried to shave his head. Like she's doing everything she can, all right, to just crap all over this company and be the real villain here in this story. If Starlight Kid goes in there and Tekla just beats her, it just, to me, it buries the shit out of Stardom. It's almost now a situation where I feel like Stardom has to win. Like you've come to be conditioned on these shows to expect the AEW people to win. You got to throw a bone to a Stardom or a CMLL or even a New Japan every now and then. I think they're going to do that here. And I think Starlight Kid is going to win the championship from Tekla. And then at Redemption next month, I think we get Mercedes and Starlight Kid, and Mercedes beats her to win the belt. Goes into Wembley as the champion. Maya gets the rematch with her. And because she beat her already once before, right? She's already established that she can beat her. So at least it gives her, in the eyes of some people, she's got that credibility like, okay, she's beaten her once. She could beat her again. And you do Mercedes and Maya. And in that case, Mercedes wins. Like, I'm not putting the belt on Maya World. But that's how I think things might play out. I think he might throw a bone to Stardom here. And because he like Tony has said, like, Starlight Kid is his favorite wrestler outside of AEW.
Mm-hmm. Tekla said that on Wednesday.
But I think Tony has legitimately said that. So I think we're going to get a title change. But then she drops it to Mercedes at that pay-per-view next month.
What other matches with New Japan talent that we have on their show that they could give a bone to here? Let's see.
Well, you got Kenny Omega and Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, Shota Umino's wrestling. He's going to get a win, so there's a bone there.
Yeah, but he's defending his title. He's just going to retain his title, though. I mean, he's the defending champion here. He's not winning a championship. He's going to retain his title. So that's not really much of a bone. What else? Is there another one? Let me see.
The Bucks are wrestling El Sky team, Místico, Máscara Dorada, and then Unbound, Shingo and Titan.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are taking that.
There is no other New Japan match outside Kenny Omega and Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, I mean, you just mentioned Shingo's team. I guess technically that would be number 2. Is that really those are the only 2?
That's it, bro. That's it. 10 matches right now. I mean, we have 8 matches on Dynamite tomorrow, so who the fuck knows might be added on Wednesday. But yeah. Listen,
they'll probably add stuff on the pre-show.
Yeah, there'll be 4 matches on the pre-show. I like what you laid out. It makes sense. I just like with Triple H, and this has nothing to do with, my dislike for certain AEW aspects in their television show. I just don't. I don't give Tony Khan the benefit of the doubt there. I don't. I don't take him as the guy who wants to build Maya up and will sustain Maya World up on their television. I think she will win, and then he'll use her for the time being and then send her back to Ring of Honor. Or she'll lose on Sunday and then go right back to Ring of Honor. I think she was in the right moment at the right time.
Yeah, SB makes a good point too. There's no CMLL match outside of Mystico on the pre-show.
No, the whole concept is dead.
Yeah, the concept has been dead for a while. So, but this just reinforces that.
I mean, they usually they are very good at last minute walk up ticket sales. I mean, this show was trending. I mean, it was in the O2 Arena last year. They sold 18,000 tickets, so they're barely at 7,000 for this show, which says a lot because there's a lot of New Japan presence where they are. I mean, the dojo's in Los Angeles. There's a big heavy wrestling presence in California. They're not moving tickets.
Yeah,
they're just not.
No, not like they were last year.
No,
because there's nothing really about the card that. It doesn't have that like one big dream match attraction. Like I think we had the first ever Bryan Danielson Okada match. Was that not at Forbidden Door?
It was at Forbidden Door, yeah.
That was like, okay, that's to a lot of people that would have been like this big dream match.
Yeah,
like that was the big attraction. You don't have anything like that on this show, so I think that hurts it. But yeah, I mean, I just think when you look at the card, if there's going to be like a big shocking thing. Again, outside of maybe Maya beating Mercedes, I think it would come in that women's title match. Because I think if Tekla's run doesn't end on Sunday, I think it's ending before we get to Wembley anyway. But I could absolutely see Starlight Kid winning that championship as the bridge to get it to Mercedes. I'm just having a tough time wrapping my head around them doing Mercedes and Tekla, two heels. It all in. I just
yeah. I saw someone in the chat say that too. I mean that's not going to stop him. He's done that before, but
yeah. But I think it's unlikely. I think she drops it before then.
All right, we'll see that play out. I may have to buy this guy a crystal ball for the next stream if his prediction becomes a reality. I'm looking at the last Forbidden Door shows. Last year wasn't even all that good either. I'm looking at 2023 now to see what really big matches they had. Mariah May defeated Saraya in 23. Lucha Brothers versus who was this? No, this was Lucha Brothers and Mystico against Yoda Titan, and Takahashi. MJF versus Hechicero. Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi. Tony Storm versus Mina. Zack Sabre Jr. wrestled Orange Cassidy. I remember that being a good match, actually. Mercedes versus Stephanie Vaquera. That was a big match. And then Ospreay versus Swerve. This was a pretty decent show, I will admit. This version of Forbidden Door, probably the last good one, honestly.
Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah. You don't get that nowadays. And we're gonna run through this card rapid fire style because there really isn't a lot coming into this. Pre-show right now only has one match: Divine Dominion, Megan Bayne, Lena Cross versus Thunder Rosa and Olympia. I'm assuming the Divine Dominion ladies will retain their titles.
Yes.
That's on the
pre-show. Got to save that for the Brawling Birds in August.
Yes, I agree. Cope and Cage will defend the tag team titles against David Finlay and Clark Connors, the Dogs. A little pit stop before the Bucks and Wembley Stadium, I assume, right?
Yes, they will be putting the Dogs down on Sunday.
There you go. Speaking of the Bucks, they will be together against El Sky Team, Mystico and Mascara Dorada versus Unbound, Shingo and Titan.
Got to go Young Bucks.
All right. 3-way tag team match. I guess that got added on Collision. I don't remember that being a part of the card on Wednesday's Dynamite last week. What was made last week was Jon Moxley defending the Continental title against Bandito. Bandito's fantastic. He's my favorite lucha in the entire world right now. I can't imagine this being a bad match, Jason, but he will fall to Jon Moxley.
Can't imagine this being a title change either.
No, Jon Moxley will retain the Continental Championship. What do you think Moxley does at All In? Any idea?
Swerve, maybe.
I could see that. Have we done that? Have we ever done that?
I don't believe so.
Wow. Surprising they have a match that they haven't run yet. It's crazy. Shota Umino versus Pac. This will be for the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, Umino just won that title from Andrade in a 3-way at their Dominion show last weekend. His first championship. He's one of their younger guys who they figure is going to be a big deal down the road. So this was his first title. He just won it. He ain't dropping it to Pac.
I gotta ask, what happened with the IWGP world title? How come it's not on this show? Who's the champion, and why did he not want to defend the title?
He said that he does not want that title to be defended outside of New Japan.
Good for him. Can't disagree with him.
Simple as that. It's hard to tell, like, when he gives these interviews, kind of where kayfabe ends, like how genuine is he being, and how much of it is like meant to be kayfabe. I think it's kind of a mix of both, because he's made that comment before, but yeah, that was something that, you know, he evidently made the decision, like, I'm not defending this championship on this show.
Good for him.
It's to be defended on Japanese soil.
I stand by his decision. Is he? We all know Tony Khan did not like Evil when he was with New Japan. Is he on the same list as Evil with Tony Khan, you think?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't. I mean, they're like, Evil's kind of in his own category there.
Evil.
I mean, think about it. Tony Khan signs everybody.
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't want Evil, oof. He must really not like this guy.
Now, Evil now, Naraku on NXT is wrestling Tony D'Angelo for the NXT World Title on Great American Bash. So Moxley, Bandito, Umino, and Pac, Tekla versus Starlight Kid. Jason thinks there'll be a title change. I actually like what you laid out. I wasn't even thinking that, but I will agree with you in this aspect. Tekla has done a fantastic job of legitimately making this truly feel like a Forbidden Door match, where I haven't gotten a sense of any of that up and down the rest of this card.
Yeah, I just feel like Stardom will get a measure of revenge here with a win over her.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. It's a pretty ballsy creative decision there, but we'll see if Jason's prediction plays out. Mercedes Maya World, we talked about that. Jason laid it out. He thinks Maya is going to win the final of the Owen. I'm going Mercedes. But stranger things have happened for sure. Kenny Omega and Zack Sabre Jr. I'm assuming, and we haven't really touched upon this. We'll talk about this big main event that they have in the steel cage. I think we're both assuming that Omega will get past Zack Sabre Jr. and then, with what we've seen play out on television with him and his discussions with Ospreay, do you still feel up until where we are right now that Kenny Omega is going to be MJF's opponent at Redemption?
Oh yeah, Redemption, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, if you, what was it on? I think it was the opening segment, maybe on Wednesday, when they had MJF backstage being interviewed, and all the members of the Callis family were behind him. And was it in that promo? He dropped a couple of Redemption references, I think, when it came to Omega. I was like, okay, now they're just like throwing it in your face now, you know? So like, it absolutely. That's why I say, like, Omega needs to be Zack Sabre Jr. here. If he's going to be in line next for a world title match, it makes no sense for him to lose.
So Kenny Omega over Zack Sabre, that's an easy one there. I don't really find anything redeeming. Zack Sabre is a great wrestler, but he's not for me. That's all I'll say. Not my cup of coffee. Will Ospreay versus Swerve. This is the one I'm looking forward to most. They wrestled back in 2024, but then it was for the AEW World Championship. Ospreay fell there as Swerve was continuing his run as world champion. It will be the opposite way this time. Ospreay is going to All In. He will win the world championship at Wembley Stadium in his country in front of his friends and family. And they've already said that they're going to put on a better match than they did in 2024, and I believe them. I mean, if there's two guys in this company that have fight forever feel, Jason, to me, I feel like it's Swerve and Hangman, and then the other one would be Swerve and Will Ospreay. I think they work tremendously well together. I'm obviously going Ospreay here.
Yeah, and I like the callbacks in their promo from Wednesday. I like that. I thought that was very effective. Because a lot of times you get these face-to-faces or a contract signing, and it's like, it's just, there's really nothing special about them. But at least here it felt like they were both making valid points. Ospreay brought up, when all these guys were trying to get into the cage to save me from getting my neck broken, I saw Kenny Omega. And I like how he poked fun at Darby, like, Darby can climb Mount Everest, but he can't climb a cage. Yeah. I remember going off on that in my review last year. But he goes, "Oh, Swerve! There was no Swerve. Where were you?" And so they were going back and forth. I thought that was good stuff.
Yeah, that was easily the best segment last week. I enjoyed what they did together as well. And then the main event here for Forbidden Door, which...
So let me ask you this before you go to that.
Yeah.
I know we're about to talk about MJF.
Yeah.
If we are correct, and it is Omega and MJF at Redemption, and Omega beats him to win the championship, are we thinking that it's going to be Ospreay and Omega one-on-one, and that they maybe bring back Hangman and they do Hangman MJF on the undercard, or a triple threat for the World Championship?
I have no interest in seeing another Hangman MJF match personally. I would rather MJF be in the triple threat.
He's been dropping a lot of Hangman references in his promos too, and laughing at him and saying, "Oh yeah, not like Hangman, who can't ever challenge again for the championship."
Yeah.
So it just feels to me like, okay, those are there for a reason, and they're building to something. If Hangman, you would think he would be back in time for that show. There's always the idea that I floated previously, which is, he could be a surprise in the gauntlet, and that's kind of his workaround to getting a world title shot again. But if they're not going to do that, I'm thinking maybe on the undercard they just do MJF and Hangman. I'm not sure if it would just be a straight singles match or if there would be some sort of stipulation. I mean, it's tough because the last time we saw them in the ring together, they did everything. They had a Texas death match. Dude, like what would be left for them to do to each other?
Nothing.
They tried to murder each other.
I have no interest. To me, I mean, I'm not deviating away from the original plan, which should be MJF and Ospreay. But I guess after everything we've gotten so far, we're going in a completely different direction. So I would rather him be a triple threat with Omega and Ospreay, but I don't even think we're going there. I'm sticking to my guns. I think we're getting Foley and MJF at All In, sadly. Foley's not going to be a Forbidden Door. He's got a comedy thing to go to. He's got commitments there. And, Tony has kind of indirectly said, well, Mick would love to be at Redemption in Montreal. So, he's going to be there. He's not going to outwardly come out and say it. But this is the main event. I could see the main eventing with Ospreay and Swerve as well if they wanted to. This really doesn't feel like a main event to me. I could care less about the steel cage stipulation or the stipulation with Mark Briscoe needing to beat MJF. How did you feel about them giving basically this main event away on Dynamite last week, Jason, with the 12-man tag? I didn't like that at all.
Well, they did it because they wanted to give the heels a win because Team Briscoe's going to win at the pay-per-view, right? They have to win.
Well, they could have did that without having it be a 12-man tag.
Of course, but, you got
let's just give the match away.
Let's just give the match away anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. I'm not a fan of doing this match.
No.
It may end up being a really good match. I wasn't even that enamored with the cage match last year either. So the fact they're coming back again this year and doing another big clusterfuck cage match like this, I'm just not a fan of it. Again, I can understand if MJF is not 100%. You saw his leg was all wrapped up on Wednesday. He was wrestling. He looked fine, but if they want to do this as a way to protect him, so there's 11 other guys in there, he doesn't have to do as much. I get it. I understand it. And look, I'll say this, even though I'm not a big fan of it, the one thing I do like is that there's a lot of different stories going into this match. So you have MJF and Briscoe, they don't like each other. Andrade doesn't like MJF either, right? Neither does Kyle Fletcher, but Kyle Fletcher's in there also with Takeshita. And Darby Allin is in there with Kevin Knight. And so you have all of these different feuds that are sort of blending together like this. So I like that at least. But you're just taking 12 guys and putting them in a cage, and I don't know. It just feels lazy to me. I'm not a big fan of it. To me, the real main event of this show is Ospreay and Swerve, as far as I'm concerned. And we know that Briscoe's team has to win because he's got to get his championship match. So I think that's why they did what they did with MJF's team winning. That's how Dynamite went off the air, right? All the heels were celebrating and posing. And it's not going to be that way on Sunday.
Well, you talked about it last week here on TNT that, and we both discussed that Briscoe and MJF could have main evented this show, but they've opted to do this instead. Now, if Briscoe does get a championship match, which we're both thinking he will, that Beach Break show in Clearwater, Florida, I believe it is.
Yeah, July 8th.
Yeah, they've already booked Jericho versus Ciampa for that show. So I'm assuming that would be a great place to do it. Now, with this tension with Andrade, which is the most interesting of all the tensions here for MJF and the World Championship, when do you think they do that match? Because Redemption's happening in July. They'd have to get that done before then, no? He wants his world title. Unless it doesn't matter that it's MJF. Maybe it's Omega.
Yeah, it could be Omega because remember, Andrade beat Omega.
Yeah.
Earlier this year.
Yeah.
You know, he beat Omega, and so you could run it back. Omega beats him this time. That Arena Mexico show is not until August 5th, I believe.
Yeah.
So the timing wouldn't work out with MJF. I'll tell you what I can see, though. If I think we're both assuming Team Briscoe wins, Andrade factoring into the finish and basically costing MJF's team the win. That I could see.
I could see that. And then goodbye him being in the Don Callis family.
I mean, he's got one foot out the door already anyway. I don't know if it would be right away or if they would still build to it. But yeah, I mean, that seems to be the direction they're going in anyway with him becoming babyface.
Who do they replace him with then? You know he's going to want a replacement to replace him.
Well, it's about that time. I would think Wardlow would be back very soon.
Yeah.
They get him back. There's always going to be somebody new to add to the Don Callis family. Believe me. They're just, it's like a fucking, you know, like in a manufacturing plant or whatever, and they have the assembly line. There's always going to be some new part that they can add to the group. This is what Tony does, you know. When he has a new heel he wants to get over, just put him with Don Callis.
That's exactly what he does. Hopefully MJF is all right with the hyperextended knee. He was wrestling on Wednesday. If he got in there and he got a couple of minutes of action the way that he did, hopefully it's not as serious.
Not too worried about his knee. I'm more worried about Rhea Ripley's knee.
Yeah.
They've been very quiet about that injury.
Very quiet. So Team Briscoe is Mark Briscoe, Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, Konosuke Takeshita, and Darby Allin versus MJF, Kevin Knight, Kyle Fletcher, Jake Doyle, who probably is there to take the pin, more than likely, Okada, and Andrade. So that's the match. Team Briscoe will win. Briscoe will get a championship match. When? We'll find out at a later date. But that is your Forbidden Door 2026 happening on Sunday. I don't know where I'll be, whether I'm watching Slammiversary or Forbidden Door. I haven't decided yet, but more than likely it'll end up being AEW. But that is all we got for you. TNT 152 in the books. We're going to hit the Super Chats in just a second. I want to thank you guys for joining us here on Tuesday nights. If you guys want to get in and get those Super Chats in, they will remain open until the end of the show. We need 17 more likes for 800. If you guys are in the chat and have not hit the thumbs up, please do that. If you guys are watching after the fact, leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of tonight's show. Timestamps, they'll be, as soon as the video publishes to YouTube, they will be in the description as they have been all month. So hopefully you guys are finding them very useful. And if you guys want to follow Jason on social media and on YouTube, everything you need for him is linked down below in the description. Let's get to these Super Chats, and we'll start at the top here with Michael Krause. $2 Super Chat. JD Jason, OTS TNT. All gas, no brakes with it. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. Hardcore Kevin with a 5. Yo, JD Jason, if Chad Gable doesn't face Penta at SummerSlam, you guys got to do the one chip challenge on stream. What the fuck is that?
Really? Who says?
What is that? The one chip challenge? Is it a hot chip?
You don't know what the one chip challenge is?
No, I do not.
So they make these, it's like these ghost pepper chips. It's like one chip.
Fucking goodness.
Super fucking hot. And it's literally one chip. I mean, people, they'll take it out of the bag and like wear a glove when they do it. It's like a whole, like, yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah, I'm going to decline. I like spicy, but I have a limit. Cody Snyder with a 50 months in the...
By the way, that reminds me, we're talking about the one chip challenge and it made me think of Hot Ones. You watch Hot Ones?
I have watched a few Hot Ones, yes.
Do you know who the host is now dating?
I do not know.
Keke Palmer.
Really?
Some people, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She was a guest on his show at one point, and apparently he had like a huge crush on her, and now they're dating.
He shot his shot, huh? Look at that.
Good for him.
All right.
Good for him.
It's, the lesson learned there, Chad. If you want something, shoot your shot. You never know what's going to come back at you.
That's right.
I wish I knew that all those years ago when I was in high school.
What do they say? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Yes, you do. Look at that. All right, Hardcore Kevin. No one-ship challenge. If you guys want to see Hot Ones, Jesse did a Hot Ones stream a few months ago, and he was paying very heavily for it. So I don't see myself doing the same thing. Cody, 50 months. Thank you, brother. Couple more weeks, and we should have Punk back. I hope so. Fucking company absolutely needs CM Punk, but the man's on vacation, getting swole apparently. Caden 199, no message. Thank you as always, Caden. Keith Smith with 10 months. With today being 19 years since the Benoit tragedy, have the policies implemented been a net positive for the industry? Was his view of EG unhealthy? I'll let you answer that one.
Was his view of Eddie Guerrero unhealthy, like as far as how close he was to Eddie?
I don't think that was unhealthy. He just loved Eddie Guerrero like a brother. There's nothing wrong with that.
He was his best friend.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously it had an effect on him. So, sure. I mean, it fucked with his mind, and you could say that was a little weird, I guess, the sort of attachment that he had. But again, people grieve in different ways. There were other things going on with him, though, in his brain, in his mind, though, beyond just that. So, it was just the whole thing was. It's sad to think about if Eddie had not passed away. Here's something I've wondered. Like, if Eddie Guerrero didn't die when he did in 2005, I don't think the Benoit stuff happens in 07.
Certainly a way to look at it. I mean, it's possible. I mean,
you know, they talked about CTE and his brain was all riddled with it and everything, but I don't think things go down the way they did if Eddie is still around.
Yeah.
I feel like Eddie was sort of that calming influence on him.
Yeah.
And if he was having issues, he would have turned to him, and we'll never know. But I do wonder about that.
Are the policies today better than they were for the industry?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
Nowadays I cringe when someone gets dropped on their head. It's like one time is, in a certain way. It depends on how it's done. But seeing a chair shot, bro, there's ways to do it that makes it look, the way you need to. Get your hands up, But people getting dropped on their head from certain angles and certain moves, no. I'm glad that that's implemented. We don't need that stuff. Baltimore Jacks with a $4.99. Chad Gable new theme resembles Hogan's American Made theme. It's actually pretty good. I just don't think it's best for his character. I still haven't grown into it at all.
It doesn't fit him.
No.
You'll notice he came out last night, and what he does now when he comes out, he claps. He goes like this,
Yeah.
and he claps, but he's trying to get the crowd into it.
He's at a fucking Nickelback concert. That's what it reminds me of.
Slight Nickelback. Man.
Bones for the Crows was a good song, though, for WrestleMania. That was a good song. $2 Super Chat. From the looks of it, the MFTs are no more. We'll see you on Friday. They walked away from Solo Sikoa on Friday this past week, so we'll see what happens on Friday this coming week. Baltimore Jacks with the $1.99 what will be Tony D's ceiling on the main roster? I don't know.
Mid-card.
Yeah. I don't think there's enough meat on the bone there for a character that's going to get to that level. He's very straightforward. Like I don't find that to be all that interesting. For NXT, it's interesting because there's really nobody down there. But for the main roster, it's going to have to be a lot more than that. Michelle with a 5. When the cameras stop rolling, Triple H has Oba mixing it up with the Vision. Should this be a concern? And how can this bloodline story affect Cody? Guys, the flyer that you saw floating around today on social media was for a dark match. WWE does not have the balls to put Bron and Oba in the same ring together right now. It's a dark match.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
no.
anything.
And then the bloodline story, how does it affect Cody? I don't know. They've teased certain aspects with Cody and Roman for what I don't know. If the MFTs dissolve, we're probably going to run back a War Games match with the Bloodline at full strength against a band of babyfaces to stop the Bloodline. That's where it's leading, and Cody's probably going to lead the charge. And how many times have we seen that in War Games? Or Punk, yeah. So that's what they're probably going for. Joshua with 18 months. Or Oba. Mostly have to watch the replay of TNT, but getting to watch it live today. Look at this. Thank you, Joshua. Hopefully you enjoyed your stay. And M with a 2. Think Sean Sapp still eats corn the long way. I do. Well, I don't know. I'm not really inclined to care how Sean eats his corn. So, Carlos with a 199. Marvel or DC? Will you watch Spider-Man Brand New Day? Marvel or DC? I gotta go DC.
It's it's funny. Like when I was younger and I was more into the comic scene and I collected the cards and everything, it was 100% Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have a loose leaf binder somewhere with like in the plastic sleeves and everything. Well, Spider-Man cards, Silver Surfer, Hulk, Cable, Magneto, like all of it, holograms, everything's in there. But in terms of movies, I probably would lean more DC.
Me too.
I've seen more Batman-related stuff in the last, 10 years than I have any of the Marvel movies.
You told me to watch that Clayface trailer? Bro, that shit looks fucking crazy.
Oh, it's amazing. I couldn't believe you hadn't seen it. I'm like, This thing is incredible. Wow. That's just a teaser.
I know. Carlos, thank you, brother. Baltimore Jackson with the 199. You guys watching the Supergirl movie this Friday? No. That's a straight to streaming service after 2 weeks, probably less than that.
There's a movie out. I didn't even know about it until last week, and I went to go check. I would have seen it later this week, but my local theater isn't playing it anymore. Called The Furious.
Never heard of it.
And it's getting great reviews. It's like this foreign language martial arts type of action film where this guy, I don't know the premise, something with his family, and it's just the action sequences and everything apparently are on point and they're really violent, but it's getting great reviews. And I'm like, man, I didn't even know about this until a week ago, and now I'm just gonna have to wait until it comes out on streaming.
Thank you, boss. Also with a 499, your favorite King of the Ring winners, your favorite 70s and 80s TV shows and sitcoms, TNT for life. Let's go. Yeah. Favorite King of the Ring winner.
Favorite King of the Ring winner, Bret Hart.
Bret is definitely number one. Austin.
Duh.
Owen winning was great.
Bret's number one.
Yeah.
Come on.
My favorite 70 and 80s TV shows. 70s is before my time, bro. 80s, I was too young to even care.
Well, I mean, look, it was before my time, but I'm pretty sure All in the Family and the Jeffersons and those were 70s, right?
Yeah. What was that show?
Three's Company?
Three's Company. Yes, Three's Company was funny, yeah.
That had to be late 70s.
Yeah.
I'll go Three's Company. I was a big Jack Tripper guy when I was a kid.
Yeah, Jack Tripper was great. All in the Family was great. I mean, you can't recreate Archie Bunker. Yeah, I'd probably go with those two. Thank you, boss. Sidro with a 5. What career does a pirate go into when he's done pirating? Architecture. And did you hear about the gardener that went crazy? She was hearing voices in her shed. If there was a thumbs down emote, that's what that's getting there, Sidra. I don't know what happened there.
That'd be very bad.
Dan with a 499. Hey, JD Jason, I was wondering, who do you guys think has the best theme song between WWE and AEW? CM Punk, MJF, Will Ospreay.
Roman's theme is pretty badass.
Yeah.
The heel one that he went back to, not the other one.
Out of everything, I'd probably say Adam Copeland, for reasons that are very obvious.
I mean, I like Ospreay's is good.
Yeah.
I like his.
Brian Danielson's is good.
Yeah, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's among the best.
No. Eddie King. I like Eddie Kingston's theme song. It fits in very well.
You're not going to go with Brie mode.
No, I'm not going with Brie mode. No. I'm surprised Role Model isn't on the list, though. Poor Bayley. Zeno with a 50 mini bomb. Thank you, Zeno. Solo, hear me out. During the triple threat, Randy returns, punt kicks Cody, Sammy wins, setting up Sammy Gunther night 1. Then Cody versus Randy non-title. Oba beats Jey, faces Roman night 2. Ignoring Brock taking out Oba, I'll extend this in another dono. All right, I'll start at the beginning. Do you see Randy Orton coming back and having any factor in that main event on Saturday?
None. 0.
Sami Gunther night 1, possibility?
No, that's not a night 1 main event. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
Main event for night 1? No.
Cody Randy non-title at SummerSlam? I don't even give a shit about any aspect of Cody and Randy, honestly, after what we got. I don't care.
They've killed my enthusiasm for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Zeno, thank you, brother, for the 50. Sidro, the 5. Did you know Spider-Man has a jacket made of Mediterranean flatbread? It's a pita parka. Oh, my God.
You suck.
Yep. And he says, cooked a steak, but it fell on the ground. Now it's ground beef. All right, I thought that was better than round 1, Sidro. So, Zeno with a 20 continued from the last super chat. I said, ignoring Brock taking out Oba because JD, as you said in the past, it's Brock Lesnar. He already said it's one-on-one. What if he doesn't want a third match because of the fact it's Brock Lesnar? Well, he said it's 1+1. So that would insinuate that there's
1+1.
That would insinuate
done,
that there's a third match coming somewhere, no?
You're done, bitch.
See, this is what I said. If I'm Brock, I'm having Oba win the King of the Ring. I'm having Oba beat Roman. And then in Brock Lesnar, I'm going to attack after the fact and then take out Oba and win the world title. That's what I'm doing. Don't you think that makes more sense for Brock? Or does he not give a shit?
He doesn't give a shit.
Just pay me and shut up.
As long as the check clears, that's all that matters.
Thank you, Zeno. Sidro, $5 super chat. What do you call a bunny who was raised in a hotel? What do you call a bunny who's raised in a hotel? An ingrown hair.
Ingrown hair. I don't understand the first part.
An in. I-N-N, like an in.
Oh, that's... Come on. That's so stupid.
Oh, my God. And what do you call a pig that is cold and growling? A hamburger.
Oh, my God. These are getting worse. These are somehow getting even worse.
Sidro, what's going on, bro? You're not tickling the Solid Monsters fancy with these jokes. Ray Reezy with the $4.99. Here's to episode 152 of Tuesday Night Unks. Oh my goodness. Apparently Jason says in the beginning he's not an unk yet, so I guess that doesn't work. Me, different story. Major Motions with the $4.99. Roman's belt feels like an afterthought. I legit forget sometimes he's the world champion. He doesn't need the world title to tell the story he's telling.
Well, it may feel like an afterthought to you, but in terms of how WWE presents it, it is now the top championship in this company.
You know who we didn't see on Monday? We didn't see Lard on Monday. I was very curious to see if we see Lard.
But Roman wasn't there.
Yeah. Maybe
Lord Mark goes wherever Roman goes.
Maybe we'll see Lard on Monday when Roman's back. Sidro with a 5. Fantasy booking. Oba fall from grace to Jey. Oba then mocks Jey by doing run it back. Another fall from grace. Foot on Jey's chest. 1, 2, 3. Book it. You mean squash Jey Uso? They could never.
Did you see when Jey came down to the ring last night after he had done yeeting and then he ran it back and he started talking?
Yes.
Like,
I said on my review, bro. I said it on my review.
He sounded like he was going to fucking pass out.
You got to take a deep breath after every 3 words. I don't know, man. Hit the fucking treadmill, man. What the fuck? I know everybody's cardio is not where it needs to be, but Jey Uso is on a different level he should be, but I don't know. Ken with a $9.99. Hey, JD, what instruments do you play? Do you want to start a band? Solo on lead vocals, me on bass, you on an instrument of your choice. I live in Jersey, so we can practice on Thursday nights. I used to play in a thrash/death metal band back when I was in high school. I have a guitar sitting in the corner and a Mark Tremonti signature and a Mark Tremonti signature amp behind me. But I'm not looking to start a band right now. Solo on lead vocals. I mean, I did hear that Solo has a voice of an angel, huh?
That's what they say.
What type of music would we play? I don't know. That's the question.
Definitely not going to be doing any ball with the ball.
No rap rock for Solid Monster.
Maybe some Linkin Park if I could ever get this fucker to open the CD that I bought.
Sure. I mean, that'll be easy enough to learn. Riley with a 199. Do you see Johnny Gargano helping Sammy win? And I didn't bring him up. I don't think so. I think that's too lowbrow for WWE. They're going to have him sleeping for the rest of his contract. I can't see him being there to help Sammy. Though it'd be a nice payoff. Honestly, he comes alive. He's back up and walking, and he helps Sami Zayn win after all these talks.
Yeah, well, I mean, knowing them, he would finally be standing and alert, and it would distract Sammy, and he would get pinned and beaten.
Yes. Francis with a 5. If Tony Khan can't buy TNA because of WWE interfering, can't he just buy Anthem Sports and Entertainment, a Canadian media company, if they want to sell? Well, you just answered your own question. They would have to want to sell first.
Why would he do that?
I don't know.
Anthem is like, it's in like the hundreds of millions of dollars. It's like this big media company. What is he? He's going to buy Anthem to get to TNA?
He's going to spend hundreds and hundreds of $millions just to buy.
So let's get this straight here. So if TNA wants to sell for 40 to 50 million, but Tony feels like he can't buy them directly, he'll spend hundreds of millions to buy the company that owns TNA, which is only worth supposedly 50 million.
Not a good financial endeavor for Mr. TK, no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor, but I mean, I would recommend against that. That sounds very, very stupid.
Francis, thank you. Joker Face with a 499. Do you guys think Bird Lady Lyra Valkyria turned heel because she hated playing Angry Birds?
I think she turned heel because she was tired of just showing up to work and having nothing to do for months on end.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. Hopefully she kills it. Troy Brown with a 20. No message. Thank you, Troy. D. Bastardo with a $5 super chat. Brock may help Oba win if he remembers he can't go after the title as long as Roman is champion. But I'm sure they forgot their own rule. I wasn't even sure that was even a rule. Is that a rule?
Was that the stipulation of their match?
I don't know.
I thought the stipulation was that they, not necessarily that he can't go after the title, but it was supposed to be their last match ever.
Oh, I don't know. I have to look into that.
Well, then he would just pick Cody. So, I mean...
Yeah. I have to look into that, Bastardo. Thank you. Francis with a 5. Did you know Comcast does not own the USA Network anymore? It's Versa Media, a spinoff company of Comcast, and it is a publicly traded company. I don't.
Now we know.
Well, I mean, what is that? Why is that important information to us?
I don't know that it is. I think it's just it's like when WWE has those "Did you know" facts that pop up on screen. I guess
so. Thank you, Francis. Also with a 5, Francis says Tony Khan can just buy all the shares of Versa Media and own the USA Network in which SmackDown resides. He can take over.
Okay, so hold on a second.
It's his channel.
So now in the last few minutes, we've had people propose that Tony Khan buy Anthem and buy Versa Media so that he can just absorb all of these entities. That would be terrible for wrestling.
Yeah.
That would be a monopoly.
No, we don't want that.
No.
We got a $4.99 here from Solid Monster's son.
Yeah.
Dad, don't forget if Jey wins, Mom said I have to move in with you. Hashtag no yeet. Hashtag Daddy, I'm coming home. Uh-oh.
All the locks have been changed.
Oh, so my goodness.
You won't be able to get in.
Francis Loop here with 15 in Super Chat, 3 $5 Super Chats. Have you guys seen the movie The Furious, starring Joe Tasselin, a.k.a. Sub-Zero in the new Mortal Kombat movie, has husband looking for his missing wife?
No. I wanted to go see it. And,
oh, my
I am unable to go see it.
He also says The Furious got 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6% more than Toy Story 5. Critics call it a masterpiece, and it's the first movie of 2026 for Best Picture. Because Jason's got to find this movie now.
I'm going to wait for it. I'm going to wait for it to come out on streaming, and we'll definitely watch it.
Yeah. Also, Francis says, saw 2 count this morning. Great stuff. Thank you. If WWE wants to cut everybody's pay in half, they should let the talent make extra money like during the pandemic. Yeah, I don't know what is allowed and what is not allowed anymore. I don't know. Kid Chaos with a $4.99. Side note, we went to see Obsessed yesterday. That shit is crazy. Still liked the back rooms better, though. Thanks, Solo and JD, and shout out to Jesse.
Obsession.
Oh, he said Obsessed. I'm sorry. Yes. Obsession.
Which I believe has now passed $300 million, I believe, worldwide.
And finally coming to the homes so I could watch it.
Well, they pushed it back a little bit because it was still doing incredible business. And like fans were actually like, no, cancel it, take it off the calendar. So they kept it in theaters for a little while longer.
Francis with another 12 in Super Chat. Francis, thank you. If Seth Rollins had his putties, he would have won the King of the Ring. So we could possibly get Charlotte Flair versus Blake Monroe at WrestleMania next year in a Hollywood ending match. It would have to be non-sanctioned to go around the no blood policy. Bro, Blake Monroe hasn't even debuted on television yet. We're booking her against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. Let's get her on TV first,
Yeah, I can't wait to see Charlotte Flair taping her fist and dipping them in buckets full of glass.
Yes. I can't wait for Blake to beat Charlotte Flair with the heel of her shoe, and she's bloodied at the end of a Friday Night SmackDown. Never going to happen. Who else do we have here? We had Kid Chaos, Francis, thank you. Tony Brown with a 10. Sammy wins, and then another triple threat. Cody, Sammy, Jey. Jey wins King of the Ring due to bloodline, not Brock. This will set up Oba versus OTC for SummerSlam night 1. Brock costs Oba. They fight night 2. Listen, man, I don't know. You guys are crazy with these fantasy bookings. Triple threat between Cody, Sammy, and Jey? No. Not interested. Chicago, 4MBK with a $5 super chat. Thanks for your great commentary work last Friday in Chicago. It was awesome listening to you guys call matches with HOG, TNA, and AEW talent. Well, thank you. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Bossmo Jackson with a $4.99. King of the Ring winner should be someone you wouldn't typically see, like an LA Knight, Chad Gable, or Ilya Dragunov. Something different. WWE didn't conduct this right. They conducted it the way that they wanted.
You realize that win that LA Knight got on Raw last night was his first win, singles win anyway, of 2026?
Was it really?
I believe so.
One win?
I'm gonna verify this, but I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God!
For these fans, they're booking him to win King of the Ring and stuff, and I don't think they quite realize how lopsided his win-loss record was. And we're talking TV. So I'm going to do a search right now and just verify that this is in fact the case. So let's see, Jimmy Uso. He's got some wins on like live events, but those don't count.
No.
Now, he did win an Elimination Chamber qualifier. That was a triple threat, though. So that was the last TV win he had prior to last night. That was in February.
That's long enough. You don't need to go back any further.
Yeah, no, it's true. The last time prior to last night that LA Knight had a singles win on television was in the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament in December over Jey Uso.
Oh, my God.
And then last night he beat Jimmy Uso.
Wow, man. That's he's really spreading the wealth out there creatively.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Krana. $2 super chat, $5 super chat. Your Mount Rushmore for ECW and WCW. And if Amazing Red did one off match in WWE, who would you want him to face? Your favorite junk food growing up? Finally, favorite comedy movie. Cheers, guys. All right, so we'll start with Mount Rushmore for ECW.
I mean, for ECW, you have to go Sandman.
Yep.
Sabu.
Yep.
Raven.
I would. Yeah. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go Raven. You gotta go Raven.
Like Raven, Dreamer, Sandman, and
I'd probably. You know, it's subjective. I mean, Shane Douglas. No, RVD. A couple of names, but WCW. Sting.
Flair.
Hogan. Who else? Sting, Hogan, Flair. DDP?
No. I would I feel like I want to put Vader on there, but I don't know. I mean, again, if you want to just look at like the big stars, how do you not put Goldberg on there?
Yeah.
You know, he was white hot there for a while.
If Amazing Red had one match in WWE, who would you want him to face? I don't know. That's a tough one. Who would match up well with him? I'm trying to think. Javon Evans? Penta? Anybody, really. Favorite junk food?
I don't know, would pretzels be considered a junk food?
I would put that in that category, yeah.
Then it's definitely pretzels.
Oh, there you go. And then favorite comedy movie? There's a couple. Ace Ventura, Tommy Boy. I love
the one that I laughed at the most, like the hardest that I saw in theaters when it came out was Superbad.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's a funny movie.
That was funny. Yeah. There was Black Sheep. I love Black Sheep with Tommy with Chris Farley and David Spade. The original Happy Gilmore. The first one. God, there's a couple. Triple M. Oba vs. Brock protects him from a loss to Roman. Yeah, for now. A lot of people think that even if Oba and Roman go at it, that Roman's going to win. We'll see. Arabian Night with a $6.99. Gunther's booking's been shit. Roman's the only big name left for him. You think once his deal is up, does he leave and become Walter in AEW? Imagine the matches. I think he's pretty content where he is. Honestly, he's one of those guys. Raven, 3041 with a super chat. I think Sami wins Money in the Bank and cashes in on Cody and Saudi during his match with Roman.
Cody and Roman at WrestleMania next year again.
You guys are crazy. Money in the Bank's happening in October, so I haven't even gotten my head wrapped around what could happen there. Arabian Night with a 279. Is this Bayley's last big feud before she departs? I could absolutely. I don't know when her contract is up, but I could absolutely see Bayley leaving. I could. I'm sure there's a big push for her to be in AEW. Step Bro with a 1 month. JD, you make work a breeze. Shout out to my boy Sergio, who led me to you. Oh, thank you, Step Bro. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Bucky freaking Dent, 78. With a $5 super chat. Baseball question for JD. Which Braves team you wish won the World Series? For Solid Monster, which Mets team you wish won the World Series? I'll let you answer that one first.
2006. That's the one where Carlos Beltran froze as the ball sailed past him, and the series ended with the Cardinals, and they were deprived of a World Series berth. That was a very painful loss. That was a series they should have won. That was a. Do you remember the? I don't know if you remember this, but the Andy Chavez catch.
No.
So they were. He was in the outfield, and he ran. He jumped up right at the wall to catch this ball, and I still to this day I don't know how he caught that ball. He snow coned it, and it was just such a great catch. And it's like, man, if they go on to win, that catch is going to be remembered for years. Like the way that like. OG Anunoby with the tip and the Knicks series, Game 4, that they went on to win the championship. They're gonna make a statue of that, right? But they fucking lost. So like you kind of look back on it and it's like, yeah, it was a great catch, but then you kind of are reminded of just how awful a loss that was for them in that series. So 06 would be the Mets team I would pick.
1996 for me, against the Yankees. They won game 1 12-1. Greg Maddux pitched. No, I think John Smoltz started that game, and then Maddux pitched a shutout in game 2 4-0, and then they went on to lose 4 straight games. So it's like, how you have those 2 games start the series, you're up 2-0, and then you lose 4-2. So if I can have any one of them back, it's that one. They should have absolutely won that year. I don't know what the fuck happened. John Waller or what? Mark Waller's happened that year. That's what happened. Fucking ridiculous. Bradley with a $5 super chat. Heyman, we don't book knee-jerk reactions. We book long-term. Also, WWE, let's turn John Cena heel for a moment and have no plan after. I'm assuming he said that with CVV today. I didn't listen to it yet. All I saw was online that he mentioned AEW, and I don't know anything else that happened in that interview.
It's 2 hours.
I'm assuming it would be.
So I'll get to it at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know when.
Clone Force with a $9.99. I'm only bringing this up since this week makes 19 years since Benoit. And what was you guys doing when the news broke? And what was your thoughts at the time while it happened? I was living in Atlantic City while it happened. I was on my couch in the living room when I got Vince McMahon on my screen talking about what happened. I don't know where you were.
I was at work and I read about it on the Observer site.
Huh.
And my first thought when I read, because the initial news was that the 3 of them were found dead at home. So I remember sitting there and my first thought was like carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah. It's
Then
crazy.
I went home, saw what you saw, and then after a period of time, the news began to change.
Thank you, Clone Force. Step Bro, the $4.99 solo. Make JD watch Sopranos. Hurry before GTA 6. Thanks for making the refinery life easy, brothers. Hashtag but JD. Hashtag boring. Hashtag Adam. My favorite unks. Thank you, Step Bro.
I keep trying.
Yes. I'm going to do it. I think I've decided it's either going to be Sopranos or Game of Thrones. I think we're going to do Sopranos first. Everybody's been saying you got to do it. You got to do it. This guy's saying it. Jesse's saying it. All right, we're going to do it.
Yeah, I just finished season 2 of The Pit, which is a great show on HBO Max. It's got Noah Wyle in the lead role. It's almost like a more modern version of ER. Only it's not called ER, but he basically is kind of like the head guy at an ER in Pittsburgh, and it's a great show. Like I'm like addicted to it. I binged the first season. I just finished the second season. Apparently the third one is coming out in January, and it's weird because there are scenes where like I have to turn away. Like there's squeamish stuff on the show, but like I go around. I was looking at some of these YouTube videos. And a lot of doctors and like nurses and nurse practitioners are like, this is the most accurate medical show that's ever been made.
Huh. Yeah, I
Really
get that
good.
same way too. I'm squeamish when I see blood like that in like a real type of way. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, dude, there's like, I wasn't aware of what a degloving injury was until I saw The Pit. And I'm like, I never want to see that again.
I don't even want to ask.
That's about as bad of an injury as you can get. Well, I mean, it's in the name. Like, imagine, like, you have your hand, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine like, you have skin on your hand. Now imagine if you just kind of like pulled it all off.
No, thank you. No, okay, we'll stop there.
It
sounds like a fucking scene out of The Walking Dead. I don't know what the fuck is that. Thank you, Step Bro. Furious Nation with a $4.99. What's up, JD Solo? Closing the month of June strong with the 2 of the best. Also enjoyed earlier with Paul Heyman and CVV. Yes, I will eventually get to that. That's one of the ones I am very interested in hearing. But thank you, brother. Thank you for being here. Raz24 with a $5 super chat. Hey, JD Solo, if you ever got into the ring, what would your ring persona be? Ring name? I feel like we get this like once every couple of months.
Yeah.
You know?
I would be the Solid Monster. It's the perfect wrestling.
I am going to take the way out here, and I never want to be in a ring again unless I am physically a manager of somebody. I never want to be in a pro wrestling ring ever again. I just want to be where I am and just call the action. Don Stoney with a 5. Shout out to Don Tony, Wrestling Soup, Spitball Media, and as always, R.I.P. Kevin Castle. Thank you, Don. Appreciate you for being here as always, brother. Furious with a 4.99 with 19 years since the Benoit tragedy. One of the people I really feel bad for is Chris's oldest son, David. Yeah, I don't know what he's up to nowadays. Kind of laid low.
He popped up at a Ring of Honor show recently. There was somebody who posted a photo with him, one of the wrestlers. He pops in on these wrestling shows every now and then, just kind of, shows up. But I think he's got his own job outside of wrestling and apparently does well for himself.
We have Pow TV with a 199. Have you seen Jalen Brunson selling 1K photos at FanFest or Fanatics Fest? Is it really that much money? That's ridiculous.
Just for a photo?
Just for a fucking photo? That is insane. Jason's looking that up. Thank you, pal. Jeff with the 16 months. Hey, fellas, are you both looking forward to purchasing GTA and playing GTA? Also, if you had the pens for SummerSlam, what main events do you book? I will be playing GTA. SummerSlam, I would have booked Rollins, Reigns, and Punk and Cody. Those are my two.
Roman Reigns is going to be there.
Roman Reigns will be there, so we'll see him.
Punk. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cody Rhodes. All right, here's Jalen Brunson. Goes on sale June 24th. I guess that's tomorrow. Paid photo op. Doesn't give a price.
Well, the WWE talent sold out all of their allotted space last year. They were the only stars to do that last year. Everybody else was
but they don't have any. They don't have any prices listed here. Let's see. Fanatics Fest.
Alex with a $5 super chat. Brother JD Solo. What happened?
Ooh. All right, so this is the list. This is what you'll pay for the various members of the New York Knicks.
Oh God!
For Jalen Brunson, $935. For Karl Anthony Towns, $338. And it basically goes down from there.
Bro,
Jose Alvarado, $169.
That's highway robbery, bro. I mean, do they care about their fucking fan base? Or is that a Fanatics Fest thing? What is that?
Well, this person wrote, last year, Brunson was $183. Gotta love Fanatics. Truly the worst.
That is awful, bro. I won't even support them, man. And that place is going to be sold out, Javits Center. Crazy.
That's awful.
What would your SummerSlam main events be if you had the pen?
I mean, given where we are now, or in a perfect world scenario? Because in a perfect world scenario, for me, it would be Cody and Punk.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect world.
Roman and Oba.
There you go. Alex, thank you. Will you be pre-ordering GTA 6?
Not me. I don't have a console. You do.
I don't know. I mean, there's no limit on the pre-order, right? It's digital, so I can pre-order it whenever I want. I don't need to necessarily do it on Thursday. Sidro with it, or actually no, Bossmo Jackson with a 199. He mentioned Sidro's jokes suck tonight. Better luck next time. Thumbs down. Thank you, Bossmo Jackson. Brian Finelli with a 499. Towels can't tell jokes. They have a dry sense of humor. Thank you, Brian. Hollywood, Johnny P with a 999. Pleasure seeing JD and Salamonster Hog in Chicago. Happy you guys enjoyed the cookies. And that's the least I can do for the best voices in all of the IWC. Family says hi, and thank you again for all you do. Johnny, thank you, brother. That cookie hit the spot when I got back to the hotel room, let me tell you.
Yeah, I gave Johnny a shout out on the sound off, and I said that cookie was as big as my fist. And I wasn't sure I'd be able to finish it, but then halfway through the show, it was gone.
Yeah.
It was very good.
Thank you, Johnny. Appreciate you as always, brother. We'll see you again in Chicago, and I'm assuming it'll be pretty soon. So, thank you again, brother. Justin Toner with 9 months. Another great show tonight. Gonna be back and forth between Forbidden Door and Great American Bash. Hopefully, Kendall Gray wins the title. Thanks. Yeah, I think it's time. I think Lola is due for a call-up, honestly. We got JD from London, 206 with a 499. Hey, JD, it's your twin brother from the UK, mate. And don't worry, older brother, I got us an all-in match so we can get back on TK's payroll. Triple H is a wanker. Oh, man. Look at that. Thank you, JD from London, 206. I appreciate that, man. Hollywood guy with a $5 super chat. Fellas, if you had to pen for one day, which promotion would you guys go to? WWE, AEW, CMLL, AAA? That's to be the bookers. Which promotion would you want to book for?
That's a good question. What promotion would I want to book for? Got the bigger roster, I feel like, to play with in AEW.
Yeah, I'd probably choose AEW. Just to anger the sickos.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? JD from New York is the new booker for All Elite Wrestling.
That'll really test them. Do they continue to watch or do they protest in anger?
Well, what do they do? They're not going to go watch WWE. It's against everything they believe in and stand for.
Oh, my God. And we got our last one here, man. Furious Nation with a 499. In my opinion, the ECW relaunch in 2006 sucked. And yes, CM Punk should have absolutely went over at December to Dismember instead of Bobby Lashley. Bro, that show was egregiously fucking horrible, and I had it on DVD, and I legitimately threw it in the fucking trash. That's what
Heyman wanted. Heyman wanted Punk to go over.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you run into the big bad Vince McMahon. Bobby Lashley ended up being the ECW champion, which never worked out. That was just awful. I don't know what the fuck that was. Never want to relive those days ever again. But thank you guys very much, man. Thank you for a great show tonight. 152 in the books. We will be back with you next week. We got Forbidden Door and Night of Champions to talk about. So it should be a good show next week. As always, I will leave it up to this man right here to sound us off for another Tuesday night.
Well, I saw Toy Story 5 last week. I saw the first 4 of them. I have yet to see a bad Toy Story movie. And then it made like $1 gajillion this week, like $312 million or something. But I saw it. I enjoyed it. There's a fun cameo. If you listen to the voice of one of the new characters, you'll probably recognize who it is. And the way I would sum it up is it was a movie that did not have to be made, but I'm glad it was. And if you're on the fence, I encourage you to go see it. I mean, they could have stopped after the third one, but doesn't mean it's a bad movie. I had a lot of fun watching it.
There you go. I have to check that one out. Big Toy Story fan. That's great to know. Usually, as they continue to go on, they get worse. But like you said, there's never a bad movie.
It's unbelievable. Like, it's the only movie franchise I know of where, like, on Rotten Tomatoes, like, every movie is like minimum 94%, and every movie or every opening weekend, I think every opening weekend that it's had, from the first one to the current one, the new one has been more than what the previous one did. Now, what other movie series, when you get to a 5th movie, is still doing that?
I don't know.
Like, that's crazy.
I think this should be it, but seeing those numbers, it's going to be very difficult to not want to make a part 6.
Yeah.
We'll see. But thank you very much, guys. We'll see you back next week, next Tuesday, for all of the coverage of Forbidden Door and Night of Champions. We'll have a lot to talk about. You guys can catch us tomorrow night, Wednesday Night Dynamite on our respective channels. We got the Go Home Show for Forbidden Door. Follow Jason on social media. Everything you need is linked down below. Continue to hit that thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Thank you to everybody that donated tonight. We love you. We'll see you next Tuesday right here for episode 153 of Tuesday Night Titans. We'll see you guys later.